What day is it? What year?
Who are you to even think you can know the difference between good and evil?
I love movies.
What are you doing?
Yet from an infinite number of possibilities, you had to pick this one.
Fiction. I love watching them.
It's a perfectly valid explanation.
I got that beat.
Film. Cinema.
Huckleberry.
I want you to remember this moment. The way it could have gone didn't.
When does the pain end and the pleasure begin?
Alright.
Fuck it, we're doing live.
Jack does that. He's like, is anybody here? Here? Like he does his own echo.
Jack, no, you can't go in the house, buddy, and do not open the door. This is my stern, grown-up voice. Can you tell I'm really pushing out the bassy tones?
This is my dad voice.
He knows
Is
his
he
dad
outside?
voice.
He's outside.
He wants to stay out. He needs to stay outside. Yeah, go sit in the
The
house.
Jack
and watch
Shack.
the phone.
Actually, that's probably not a good
Ew.
thought. Yeah.
It was
That's
the
what
Jack
tree's
Shack.
doing. And we're recording. And you're right.
Oh,
Yeah,
fuck.
that tree is jacking all over it.
Oh, that took way too long.
There's a seat in there right
That's what
for
she
you.
said.
He likes to sit in that little baby rocking chair.
Yeah.
My
there you
parents
go.
have one like that.
Done. It's just his size.
That's very cool.
He can
Not
come around.
properly
Thank you.
measured, but
That's
hopefully
fine.
it's okay.
Thank you.
There's vodka in it, so that's what matters.
Right.
Beer.
Oh my goodness, this drink is not properly measured.
I just eyeballed it. Mark one eyeball.
It's
Yeah,
yummy.
Hopefully it's not
Absolutely.
too strong or.
It's good. No.
Okay.
Thanks, man.
All right, I got my
Probably
water.
not.
I got
All right,
my.
everyone's got a drink. We got some hot wings and even hotter questions.
Yeah.
Sure that's
Hot babes, too. Are we allowed to say hot babes, or is that...
Just kidding.
Just kidding, we're not sexist.
No, I meant on the hot questions because of the last dab questions.
We have warm inquiries.
There you go. Warm inquiries and
That's right, yeah.
statements.
Yeah.
More than
A warm steaming pile of inquiries.
Episode 4. Shit's getting weird.
Oh, we started?
Also known as Octopocalypse
Yeah,
We're out here
Wait, what?
grilling.
and chilling.
and licensed to Illin.
Oh my.
We're a few drinks in, but we
Yeah.
have a pile of warm meat in front of us and many hot sauces that I can't wait to put in my face.
I can wait.
You can wait, but will you?
You're gonna have to project that, John, because I'm just like normal John, like from the sidelines, like sniping, like.
Oh, this is perfect. I've been planning for 6 months to get to this place.
Yes.
No, I was gonna tell you guys it's funny because like I started these show notes like 3 or 4 weeks ago, and the news cycle moves so fast that none of that matters anymore.
No.
Do you
it
still
was
have
all.
the murder? Is the murder hornets on there?
It was all. It
Probably.
was all about QAnon,
Yeah,
Oh yeah,
and
yeah.
everybody fucking forgot.
Yeah.
I was like, Q who?
Yeah.
Yeah.
QAnon's done. Murder hornets have already come and gone, and now it's the
George Floyd.
what? Yeah. Ugh.
And now we're on to, the rising of everybody in the wake of George Floyd's murder.
The good and the bad and all of it. It's intense. I don't really know what. God, I should have maybe prepared something to say about this. I haven't really been talking about it as much as I think we all probably haven't been talking about it as much as we need to, but I have been feeling it. I've been crying like a baby. I watched that video twice, cried both times. I watched the video of the 12-year-old boy. God, I wish I knew his name. That's singing that song "I Want to Live." That I've cried
didn't
so
see it.
long from that I cried from that song like for such a long period of time that I was in the middle of crying and I was actually having this thought, man, I've really been crying for a while. Like I actually had that meta moment, and I think it's really important to feel it though. I think that we've seen this senseless violence against Black Americans, and it's happening so often that we can explain it away. We can numb out from it. We can not look at it and with as much focus that I think we need to. I think we all need to just we can conflate it with other issues. We can say, we can blow our racist dog whistles about, well, it's, sure, it was bad that he got choked to death, but it's also bad because of this, whether this be riots or any other critique that white people seem to have about any behavior that a black person exhibits in their attempts to try to protest this shit. So I say we all just kind of, we need to stay focused on it. We need to just feel it and not try to explain it or have an answer for it or to white-splain it. We just need to see
There's
it for
no
what it
universe
is.
where a rational explanation of what happened exists.
And now we're pausing for an awkward commercial break.
Also, giant train whistle.
Yeah.
While Chris was spitting his truth, I was pointing out hot sauce to put
On your
meat
wings. Yeah.
into my face hole.
Kedron Bryant is the young man who did
Yeah.
the song.
Yeah. Thank you for
Yeah,
that.
yeah, absolutely.
Have you guys all seen his song? Have
I
you
haven't.
watched his
I
song?
haven't watched it yet.
It's
He has a beautiful voice.
I haven't even watched the video, like the George Floyd video through to its entirety because I don't want to
It's
see
hard.
that anymore.
It's
I
so
watched the whole thing, and it is rough. It's hard to see the guy go from crying for his mom to
Nothing.
dead, basically.
Yeah,
You know?
This isn't new.
No, it's not. And
It's not.
how
It's been
many?
happening since Rodney King,
Yeah.
on footage,
That's
Ever
what I was
since-
telling Grizz. the
Ever
other
since
day.
they started
I feel the
reporting
same.
police brutality.
Much, much, much later.
awesome. I hope it doesn't blow away, or else it will be tarragon with the wind. That was for Al, who's
Angie, just
suffering in silence in the background. All right, are we recording that?
We are.
All right, miss you.
Ouch.
I can't believe we went from racial inequality to dad jokes,
Ouch.
herb puns.
Check your privilege.
Yeah. Check the quality of my
we
jokes.
went from racial inequality to Scarlett O'Hara. You haven't licked me yet. Ah!
Yeah, I'm just gonna be clear that Chris was the one that pivoted to Gone with the Wind.
Yeah.
Can we wait to release this?
We were all just along for the ride.
Chris is Scarlett O'Hara, not me.
No, but I feel like my Facebook has been a place of just kind of lighthearted posts. I haven't ever really gotten super political. And I feel like that is, again, my privilege. I've been privileged enough to just keep all that separate and just be I just want my Facebook to be...
It's terrible, but it's over
kid
there.
pictures and cat pictures.
Mm-hmm.
And I just realized, especially after, the Ahmaud Arbery shooting,
Mm-hmm.
that I just, I can't. It doesn't matter, who I'm going to offend, what family members or, Facebook friends don't agree with me. I just have to speak out, and I have to use my privilege for good. So that was, a really big wake-up call for me.
Absolutely. I saw a great thing online the other day that really summarizes, I think, the angle that we can leverage and we should leverage. Is we should use our privilege to destroy our privilege.
The Anglo-Saxon?
Ouch.
Sorry. We're talking about dad jokes. So.
Bye.
We're like social justice assholes right now.
Sorry.
That was genius.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Sorry, not sorry.
Anglo-Saxon. Like it's an O
yeah,
hyphen.
yeah. Anyway.
No, I want to say, a bunch of my white friends, I'm not white. A bunch of my friends,
A bunch of your whiter friends.
yeah, that I went to high school with have been posting, this thing, Martin Luther King peacefully protested, and,
He got murdered.
they, not
No.
not one store looted, and I'm he
Racist
still
when I talk about
he
MLK.
still got fucking shot, somebody still fucking
we didn't
assassinated
assassinate
him.
him. Yeah.
Why
And they're
can't all
saying,
black people be exactly like Martin Luther King?
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
and then they posted the entire nation was with you, Minneapolis, until you busted the windows of a Target in an AutoZone, and I just want to be kneeling didn't work, peaceful
No.
protest didn't work. you guys criticized every single thing that like anybody did to support
Dying,
the black
hey,
community.
dying a
So what
million
happened-
different ways at the hands of bad cops.
So
that
like,
work.
what are we gonna write a sternly worded letter?
No, what
Because
you-
like
Yeah.
a man was, his neck was like a police officer knelt on his neck until he was dead.
I want to talk to the
And you
manager
don't
of white
expect people to be mad and like bust shit up.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
mean, people should be able to bust shit up, but there's also cops being killed right now. I just read it on the news today. There's also cops being killed. So, I mean, I definitely believe that they should be protesting, but I definitely don't think that you should kill other people.
And
No,
I don't
I don't
we're-
think you
yeah,
should either,
And,
no,
and we
but-
should qualify. We're not saying that the
Violent
answer.
revolution is not the answer.
Yeah.
I went to a college where we lit shit on fire every time our sports team won or lost.
I did too.
I went to WVU. We burned fucking couches. We got into the Elite Eight in 2004, and in Sunnyside, they flipped some
I say
girl's
that with
car
an
upside down and set it on fire, and nobody fucking batted an eye. When we caught Osama in 2011, I was there. I was in Morgantown. People were rioting. They turned it into "Let's Go Mountaineers" and "Eat Shit Pit," and nobody fucking cared.
Yeah.
So, white people rioting for a sports event, nobody bats an eye. The black community is outraged because a man got murdered, and everybody's like, you can't protest that way.
Yeah.
I just want to point out the hypocrisy. I'm
Oh
not
my God.
advocating for violence. I'm not advocating for the death of anyone, but people are understandably upset
Fuck yeah.
and frustrated and angry, and
For sure.
I support that.
Amy, how's
Well
my
said.
levels from here? Is it okay? Can you hear me all right?
I mean, I think you sound fine.
Okay.
Just, I don't know. I've been leaning in because my voice is kind of going out.
I would say I don't advocate for violence to a degree, but I feel like you can only push like a repressed group of people so far before it becomes inevitable, and then it's like completely justified because I'm like, well,
I don't think you have to advocate, to approve of it to go, well, it's understandable. Right?
to a point where I'd be like, I will participate in this. If it comes to a head, I would be like, yes, I would grab my gun and be like, try to tell me to, sit down and be quiet. Maybe that's just because, like, I'm armchair revolutionary, but
I mean, I don't see myself going in that direction, but I understand the frustration.
it,
And it's scary.
When violence is on a table, you get a random dude showing up with a crossbow.
yeah.
Oh yeah, so that's in reference to there's this white dude in Utah who decided to drive to the protest and bring his, was it a crossbow or a hunting bow?
It was a hunting bow, like a compound bow.
Yeah.
No. What is that?
What?
What is that?
This?
Delicious.
Yeah.
Oh,
Pineapple,
Hot sauce,
pineapple
pineapple.
habanero. And this is the mambo sauce.
Sorry.
It's really good mixed together.
Probably. All right,
That's
so
worth asking about.
I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh, no,
No,
you're
no,
good.
fine.
it looks yummy
The
though.
podcasts
Yeah,
are about
delicious.
all the interruptions,
Have some
so
Yeah.
joy in your life.
yeah.
For sure.
Avoid violent revolution.
Yeah.
Have some hot sauce.
Eat
Yeah.
some
I'm
chicken
gonna
wings.
try that.
You gonna try
Actually.
the habanero pineapple?
Yeah, with
If you
the
mix it with
mambo.
the
Look.
mambo, it mellows it out. It's really good.
Yeah, this is good.
I just did 3 little dots on my chicken wing.
Pardon my language here. I shouldn't talk like this because I'm running for public office. It's
We
gonna
can
fuck
we can
your
edit
shit
this
up.
out.
Oh, let me remind. Oh, that's funny
Maybe.
too. Speaking of current events,
Do you not like spicy
You're gonna
stuff?
pivot real hard.
Yeah, that's a real hard
doesn't
pivot.
always agree with me very well.
This podcast is now going to be 2/3 like public representatives.
Well, 2/5, right? Because there are 5.
Oh,
of us
well,
here.
yeah, sorry.
Oh, we should
Normally-
have done introductions.
That's right.
Who are you? Why am I here?
Sorry, this is like our
Who
intro
am I?
banter still. All right, let me
What
just
am
do my
I?
intro real quick, and then we'll go to the Neil Breen. Who am I? What am I?
Oh my god, we
Yeah.
gotta talk about Neil Breen.
Neil Breen's
If
on
you
the
guys
docket
don't know
today
who
too.
he is,
No, I have no idea.
Yeah.
you gonna learn today.
Scoot in just a little bit, Chris, just so we get you. I see
John.
that she painted your nail there.
Oh, I got it. Yeah, that was at the start of quarantine.
Aw,
I had all my toes.
you're a
painted.
good dad.
There's only one left.
Where's Jack? I'm a bad mom.
You were like, you're a good
Watching
dad.
his
Oh
phone.
shit, I'm a parrot.
Oh fuck,
He's watching his phone.
I have a crutch. Food.
Episode 4. Shit's getting weird. Hi, this is Bro Safe Nerd Alert. Again, we're injecting ourselves with meat
Hot meat injections.
straight into our face holes.
What? I love you too, baby.
I love you too, Jack.
Oh, you got to leave that in. Are we gonna introduce ourselves individually, or what do you
Yeah,
think?
sure. So we're injecting ourselves with meat straight into our face holes, like the coronavirus. Here with our special guest Angie today
Hi.
to talk about the end of the world, which is now more relevant than when I wrote this 3 weeks ago.
I know. Have they moved the doomsday
Yeah.
clock?
What she's been doing, and we're talking about The Shining and Dr. Sleep today.
Yeah.
All work and no play makes Jack a doughboy. John?
Hi. How you doing?
I'm just gonna go in order, so from left to right, I guess.
Let's go. Was that supposed to...
Yeah, go for it.
For what?
I don't know.
What you're doing right now is what you're supposed to.
I'm drinking this beer
Okay.
and watching
Hey,
you.
what's up? These, I have a lot of thoughts about these movies. I'll just put this out there. With The Shining in particular, when I remember looking back on it, I thought of it more of a like human psychological thriller horror movie more than a supernatural horror movie. Looking back on it, like clearly it was very much supernatural from the beginning, but particularly with Dr. Sleep. But I don't know, just the tone difference between the two was interesting to me. So that's something I'd like to talk about today. And I also wonder what it would have been like to see Jack Nicholson when no one really knows who Jack Nicholson was, or he was at least more of a minor actor than he is now, because his role is so
Yeah.
iconic in it. And like I just remember as I was watching it again, just how much I couldn't stop thinking like, oh, that's Jack Nicholson. You know what I mean? It was just very, very
Did he
prevalent.
do One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest
Yeah.
before this?
He did.
So that was leading
It was
up.
like right before it, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's another just great film.
Oh,
yeah.
it's amazing.
All it.
So I mean, but because of that kind of dominating presence of Jack Nicholson, what I remembered as a movie about Jack Nicholson, and really the movie isn't. It's about Doc. It's about this kid, who like again me thinking about me watching a long time ago. I was like, yeah, it's a movie about the scary guy that puts his head through the door when he cuts it open. Like, no, it's really about this kid
Right.
who has this weird gift or curse or whatever you want to call it. And obviously that leads very well into Dr. Sleep. But I don't know, looking back, in a way I appreciated The Shining more because I thought of it as like this, what happens when just a human breaks down and like starts seeing things. and
Like
doing
it's
stuff.
completely isolated and
Yeah.
starts hallucinating.
Not so much the supernatural part, just when a person
Right.
just breaks with reality. And that's large part because there's literally two different realities in the world today. But
Not at all like what we're going through right now.
Yeah.
But so anyway, I don't know. Was the guy from Twister? They did the weird like TV version of The Shining. It was like a multi-episode. It was like one of the first like multi-episodic TV.
Oh, is it the guy
events.
from Wings?
Yeah, I don't know.
I loved the miniseries version of this.
I haven't seen it. I
we
haven't
should
seen
have
it.
added that to the list.
And so, but
Yeah.
I remember that like being like a big deal. Like,
I
I
haven't
remember
seen
like
it in a
the
while,
adults
yeah.
talking about how this thing was being remade, this classic. And I mean, I would have been
Okay.
11 or 12.
I would say that it's a more faithful adaptation of the book, but it's probably not as
You
like
can't.
visually
Kubrick or
iconic
Nick
as
Nicholson,
Kubrick.
like, you
And
can't.
I don't think he was trying. I think he just wanted to do like his book like verbatim, you know, and that's why it was 3 episodes long and it was like much more faithful in that sense. But yeah, side note, digression.
Well, I think as like someone who's like now has read books and knows what the word fiction even means, let alone as the child that would have watched it.
Yeah.
Like I appreciate the like subtlety of The Shining. Like and by subtlety I mean there was literally like a 15-minute exposition where the chef like teaches the kid about it. Like I was like, this is a lot more of the movie than I remember. Like I think in recollection I just thought the movie was Jack Nicholson showing up in a snowbound lodge and then going like immediately crazy.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
all the next-
He like
They
he
do
types
make
on
an
a
effort to
typewriter for a
explain.
couple of frames and then he's like,
and then Red Rum was everywhere.
Where's my dumb wife? Where's Shelley Duvall and her teeth?
Mr. Ed.
Oh, sorry.
Jelly.
The synopsis. So in Stephen Kubrick,
Kubrick.
Stephen Kubrick.
His brother.
Yeah, in Stanley Kubrick's The Shining, we explore the horror of hedge mazes while Jack Torrance plans a lovely winter getaway with his autistic son and wife, Mr. Ed. Along the way, the camera gets devoured by Shelley Duvall's ginormous teeth
and Jack Nicholson learns the value of being quarantined with his family. He not so subtly hates for 8 months. Across lots of rooms paved in awful carpet, all work and no play makes Jack an axe murderer. So come play with us forever and ever. Chris?
Man, that's good. That's a tough act to follow. That was very well done.
I thought you did a good job in Popeye.
Yeah, me too.
Shelley Duvall? Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
As a matter of fact,
I just
she's
feel like I have to compliment her.
she's so iconic in that I even watching The Shining, I'm thinking this is Olive Oil.
Right.
How did Olive Oil end up here with this guy who clearly made just a bad career choice? Maybe that's it. If only he had chosen. If only he had chosen a job that maybe he was just a shitty writer. I don't know.
Didn't Kubrick have to like work her to the bone to get
Yes.
her to like emotionally
Really?
get where he wanted
Okay.
her to be?
I wrote some notes
I mean,
about
Olive Oil
this
doesn't
down
seem
the
like-
Tell
way.
me all about it.
He basically everybody lauds Stanley Kubrick as being like, you know, one of the best directors, you know, of all time. But
I think he was tyrant director.
I don't know if I agree with that, just because like if you have to work your actor to such a mental degree to the point where like you're breaking them down in real life to pull the performance out of them.
Maybe he's a
I
good
have
director,
some
not
mental
good.
reservations about that, like actually like inflicting mental and physical harm on people to like get them to pull
Have
the
you ever
performance.
seen The
like-
Machinist?
Yeah.
Yes.
He had to be broken down in that. Do you see how much weight he
He
lost
lost all
for
that
that
weight.
role?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's that's like method
But is that-
acting
but is-
into
yeah, is that
versus
him
like
or is that him?
somebody else inflicting that harm
The
on you.
non-consensual method.
Exactly.
acting.
I
Yeah.
say like suffering for your art's one thing, making others suffer for your art.
Like,
It's
okay,
different.
Shelley Duvall, we have to do this 60 takes, and
Because
you
you're
to
a
get to
dumb
that
horse
point.
bitch.
Yeah, because you have big stupid teeth, and I don't like you.
Oh my
I don't
goodness.
consent to that.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, this.
That makes me just think that maybe he's a bad director. Like, because look, have a little experience directing actors. You know, we all participated in a movie,
Just a scotch.
and just pulling them aside and having a discussion about the mental place that you want them to be in usually is all that entails. And then, you know, 3 or 4 takes, and it's like one for safety. So
Wow, you know what? That makes the whole frustrated writer thing, you know, frustrated, angry because it's not going his whole way. That adds a whole new layer to it, given that the director was getting pissed, you know,
Like-
like psycho on one of his
yeah.
performers because it wasn't going the way he
And
wanted.
the scene in particular was the one where she was going up the stairs waving the baseball bat at him. Where he was like actually starting to lose it, and she was like swinging it at me. You guys can't see me right now, but like I'm swinging my invisible bat, you know,
Yeah.
and she's
Right
like choked up really high on it.
Yeah.
Like that was the take, I think, and there was like one other scene.
Well, was
Too.
it like that in his other movies, like Clockwork Orange?
I don't know. I wouldn't doubt it.
Maybe he just beat up on Shelley Duvall. 'Cause she was an
Maybe
easy
Shelley
target.
Duvall was just really hard because she was like this little deer, you know, and he was like, "I will break you."
Yeah, she was very sweet and mean.
Man, that's like super disturbing now, you know, because he was playing like
But-
the like abused
Right.
spouse.
And he was like, "I'm going to abuse you."
And
to
the
make you
actor
go
was
there."
being
playing in real
abused.
Yeah.
life.
Man.
But part of my sympathy and empathy for her character was she was like, I'm just here trying to be a good person and raise my kid, and like, what the fuck is going on?
Right.
Yeah.
And every time Jack
And
raises
she's
his
like, I
voice
just
to
want
her,
to just be a normal family with things, and like, there's kids getting chased by ghosts,
Yeah.
and you're like, I don't know.
It's
She clearly
creepy.
should have walked out like a million years earlier. 'cause
Yeah.
there's
it
lot-
sounds like
there's
that
a
wasn't
lot
the
of-
first time Jack raised his voice to her.
a lot of red flags.
Yeah.
Like him breaking his kid's arm. would
Yeah.
probably been like
That would have
Yeah.
been a deal breaker, I feel like.
It's like, okay, time to get in a snowmobile.
The Shining is iconic, but I feel like Doctor Sleep is more of a truthful adaptation.
Well,
It's-
I
it's
wanted
the-
to go back to The Shining because I wanted
Yes.
to touch on something. Hi, I'm Angie, and I would like to talk about both those movies today, especially The Shining. I saw The Shining when I was like in first grade. So, and I had an extremely traumatizing childhood. So to me, The Shining is almost like a realistic, image of some of the people in my life,
Like a
that
like a
had
personal reflection.
yes, and had like mental illness, severe mental illness, and were pretty psychotic. So, yeah. I also thought Dr. Sleep was phenomenal, and I think they portrayed the characters from the previous movie in a great way.
Faithfully.
Dude, I love Dr.
It
Sleep
was
and how they
it
transitioned.
was wonderful.
Yeah.
It was absolutely wonderful.
It was like,
And I appreciated both movies, like rewatching them again in order as an adult now, and not having such a personal like tie to them.
Yeah.
That's a weird thing to be nostalgic for.
Yeah, girl.
So I actually had like a stepfather that was extremely abusive. And so when I was a child, like, you know, we were malnourished. We were extremely abused by, I mean, my mother didn't do anything, so it was mostly my stepfather. But we would have to like pick dirt out of the carpet. We had lice like multiple times. My grandparents like remember giving us lice baths like 4 or 5 times. We didn't get to eat that much. One time my stepfather shot a gun off in the house, and him and my mother were fighting. And then as he went to leave, I yelled at my mom, you know, Dave's leaving. And she was like, I don't care. And he came back in and grabbed me by my face and threw me across the room. And then I went outside and I ran behind like a fire pit, like a brick fire pit. And he came outside and he got in the car and he tried to hit me with the car. And that's how my brother and I ended up in foster care.
How old were you when this all happened?
I was only like first grade.
Jesus.
So,
It's a
first,
Hannah.
second grade. So,
It's so fucking heavy.
yeah.
okay, can't follow that.
And I remember and this is my
Nothing makes it
mom's third husband that did this. And she stayed with him until he died, which I hate saying. I celebrated the day he died.
No, I.
So, but her
Sounds like
second
your mother's
her
child.
second
Yeah.
husband was just as bad. He ended up in prison, and I remember waking up at night and he would be like banging on the door saying he was going to kill us all, and like trying to break down the door saying he was going to kill us. And
Was he drinking when this was going on, or was this just like?
he was a known drug user, but I was just a child, so I don't know. I just remember
Yeah.
looking outside my bedroom door and him trying to like
Yeah.
get beat down the door, and my mom like holding the door closed and him yelling that he was going to kill us and stuff. So when I saw The Shining,
How old were you when you saw The Shining?
You said
Sarah?
first grade, right?
I was a first grader.
So during the middle of still being
All
with that
being
guy,
in-
that abuser.
Yes.
So you
Okay.
said, "Holy shit, this guy's Dave."
Yes. So basically, like when I saw The Shining, I was like, oh my gosh, this person is what a psychotic is,
Yeah.
like a psychotic person, how a psychotic person acts,
Yeah.
They seem like okay on the outside, but really like they want to shoot off guns in the house and throw you across the
Right.
room by your face, so
What a terrible thing! Like you're like, oh, you live in this absolutely abusive and shitty environment, and you're like, I think I'll watch a movie. I think I'll have some escapism.
My
and
mom-
then you
And
turn
the
then
movie
it's
is your life.
Shining. I'm like,
Yeah.
fuck.
The escapism
You
is
can't get away from
Jack
it.
Torrance.
well, and I
I'd have been like, man, I'm putting Transformers on or something.
And I feel like my mom, like, people might be like, oh, well, your mother let you watch stuff like that. But at the same time, like, watching stuff like that at a young age, like, helped me realize, oh, most of this stuff is fake. The problem
Yeah.
is when I watched The Shining, I had nightmares for weeks after that because
Where's Jack?
it mimicked reality.
Right.
Oh, he's inside. Okay, I didn't see him on his rocking chair anymore, and I was just imagining him like playing in the street.
No, he's
It
on the road.
mimicked reality. That movie hurt me so bad because it mimicked reality. So
Right.
then when I saw Dr. Sleep, I thought, oh, as I was watching Dr. Sleep, I was like, this is going to answer a lot of questions. I couldn't even watch hardly the part where they killed the child
Spoiler alert.
That was that was
Um,
horrible.
Sorry.
That was horrible.
No, when there is a horrible child murder scene, and it is really rough. Like that was probably the roughest part of Doctor
I couldn't
Sleep,
even
which
watch
We'll
it.
get to, yeah.
I couldn't even watch it, but so if you imagine being
Happy
like
birthday.
a young
watched the
child
episode,
when The Shining came out and seeing that, you know, and how scary that is. That's how Doctor Sleep is for like I think nowadays. It's more almost a reality of what could happen.
Yep.
There could be people like this, you know. These things could happen in reality to children.
Mhm.
These things are happening to children.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I mean,
metaphorical,
besides
but
the
yeah.
supernatural
Yeah, yeah.
aspect.
Right, no.
They're
of
not
course.
metaphorically sucking their soul out of their
Right,
bodies. They're
right.
just
It's
destroying their lives by selling them off into sexual slavery or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. I-
Terrible, horrible existence.
Yeah.
The
Trafficking.
the
I just
original-
watched the Jeffrey Epstein documentary, and yeah.
Why did it have children?
I know.
Um,
I watched the shit going down in the news, and I'm like, I'm like, should I have not had a kid? I feel guilty for bringing a kid in this
I
dark
can't-
and terrible world.
I can't really follow that up because I was talking about. I had notes here about snap zooms and lenses that Stanley Kubrick was using.
We just got way too heavy for
Yeah,
snap
and I was
zooms.
like, well, that's all out the window.
Sorry about that.
No.
But I
You can
wanted
dive
to,
into that.
I wanted
Yeah.
to bring like why
That's serious. That's
No,
good.
make it
why
real.
this movie was so scary to me. Like
Like-
it was pretty much the scariest movie I had seen in my life.
But
Domenico Vigliotti.
but what's interesting, right, is it was not to put words in your mouth, but it sounds like it was scary because of how relatable it was.
Yeah.
Whereas
Yeah.
for like most people, it's scary because it's that's why we call it supernatural, right? It's beyond our natural experience, beyond what we would think, and so it gives us this like escapist glimpse into, oh God, you know, it's been a world with a demon lady in 237, but
Mhm.
like, dude, you're not alone in having like a a real relationship with some of the actions and the things that happen.
like a
there.
personal
Like, it's-
connection.
But other kids probably have as well.
Right,
you
exactly.
know?
Yeah.
I mean, my mom wore like the same kind of outfits that, you know, the actress wore, and
Wow.
I can, and that wasn't even the first incident. There were other incidents as I was growing up because I was still forced to see my mother, like summers and Christmas, after my dad got custody,
Oh,
and more abuse and stuff happened during that time, mostly towards my mother. So, and that's why like The Shining is just something that is really pivotal for me, that really scared me as a child. I mean, I had nightmares for weeks, and it was nightmares like, you know, blood coming out of the elevator thing.
Yeah.
But
Super
this-
unsettling.
But the thing is that because of stuff like that, it was because the reality of the movie mimicked my reality.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So I was like, oh, these supernatural things could also happen
Exactly.
because,
Exactly.
you know, this is
man.
my reality.
Right. Well, that's.
You probably
I mean-
did not want to go anywhere near elevators.
Well,
No.
I remember. I remember as a kid, like you see a scary movie, and like I go downstairs to get a drink of water, or whatever. And it's like dark, and I go down there, and I get to the bottom of the stairs. I'm like, oh God, there's a monster behind me! I have to run as fast as I can.
Yep.
Right.
And like I was like genuinely scared, but I was also kind of like, this is kind of fun. I'm running really fast away from monster. That's I know it's really
Yeah.
not there, but like, like that was a real. It was a real thing. It wasn't. You were worried about supernatural ghost twins chasing you down the hallway. It was about like, you know, this real thing inside. I don't know.
But the
That's-
thing is that I still could, in my mind, the reason why it was so scary is because I believed as a child, like those things could happen because my reality was
We'll get
this
them out.
psychotic that was coming, you know,
So-
coming for me and my mom, you know.
So I guess I was gonna like, what was your like long-term takeaway from the film? How did it? Because it's clearly stuck and it's been important. So how, other than just the fact that there was the, you know, like art meets life type of thing, but
Well,
How-
as I became an adult, like I learned a lot about like mental illness. I mean, I worked a lot on myself just as a person and the things that I've gone through, like because I've gone through depression and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And my dad put us in a lot of therapy. You know, when my dad got custody, he put us in a lot of therapy, which I'm thankful for because
Sure.
I don't think my brother and I would have turned out to be the people we are today, and if
Right.
we hadn't. But now I appreciate the movie more, and because of the aspect of realism that's in it. Like, Doc is really truly scared because he thinks his dad's trying to kill him. My brother and I, like, we were scared of our stepfather because we thought he was going to kill us.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, when he tried to hit me with the car, I ran to the neighbor's house and I said, my stepdad's trying to kill me.
Right. Well, and that's like Doc in the movie, right? It sets it up like he has this voice in his mouth, Tony, and like it even they build up his what ends up being a supernatural ability, but the way most of the context for the movie is like it's like a coping mechanism for the kid trying to deal with fucked up family life where his dad breaks his arm, right?
It's like his dissociation. Like he's dissociating to Tony.
It turns out it's not really dissociation.
No, but I feel like that's kind of almost what's implied or like what the audience is thinking.
No, I agree. To me, that was the way I watched it. Right?
I have a really big appreciation. I mean, I do like the director's like takes on like the pictures, of the and in the film. I think that they're beautifully done. Like when he's in the snow and stuff like that, all the camera angles are really, really good. Like it makes you feel like you're there, a lot of the times. So, and I just feel like, again, the aspect of making it more realistic and taking away the supernatural aspect of it, I think he did a good job in that. So, after rewatching it.
Big use of Steadicam in the movie for all you cinema files out there.
For sure. For sure. I
know.
Yeah, so, the tone and like the pacing of the cinematography, just it in itself drew it out. Because to me, that's
the
like
movie has like, gobs and gobs of style.
Well, to me, like
the carpet design. There's the hedge maze. There's so many just it's like I don't know. It's kind of like a much cooler version of what Wes Anderson's trying to do.
Say what you want about him, like sticking to the story, but he certainly knew how to establish an atmosphere.
Oh yeah.
Well, and to me, it was just like everything was about creating space for the insanity to happen.
Yeah.
Right, because like Jack Nicholson was clearly insane from the beginning, but like enough stuff
structured
him.
It just took this to like push him over the edge.
But once you put him in the environment where it could be let out, like he revealed who he was, which was a clearly unstable, deranged, dark person that had no business existing, frankly. But
a lot of that is revealed when he actually starts having the drinks with the ghost bartender and stuff. It's all like his internal monologue is sort of let
his
out.
Entire ethos was just laid bare.
He let it out just one time.
Let me just cut it loose.
Yeah. He's having a drink and he's just like
man needs a space or whatever.
Yeah, he's like,
like, well, again, like
misogynist bullshit that comes out.
Woe is me that.
I don't remember exactly what it was because it was a few weeks ago since I saw it, but yeah, it's basically just a lot of misogynist bullshit that comes out when he's sitting there.
It was the most. I mean, it was the stereotypical like privileged complaining.
My wife and my kid won't stop bugging me.
Right.
Yeah.
Jack Nicholson is very good at playing the antagonist. I feel like.
Yeah,
he did Crazy very well.
He does Crazy very well.
From One Flew Over, to the fucking Joker, like
right from a Snake Pit movie to this was great. Yeah.
And which made Easy Rider like an interesting role for him because it was probably one of the least crazy characters he's played. Yeah. Which probably says more about Jack Nicholson than Easy Rider.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that space that Kubrick made, that emptiness, that vast emptiness, whenever Nicholson was in a scene, he certainly filled a good deal of it up,
You guys talking about emptiness, it's interesting because I'm like, what was most scary for me was, I guess, like on the shallower end of this, like as a little kid watching this, the scary scenes for me was like when Danny was rolling around on his little big wheel through the hotel and he was all alone.
Yeah.
Right.
Like that sort of like pulling that into the frame and making like in being the embodiment of that, like when you're alone and you're a little kid and you're rolling around and you're like outside in the woods or you're just, there's nobody around you and you're little like that, you feel very vulnerable suddenly. Yes. Even if nobody's around you. he did a very good job of encapsulating that, I felt like. And that to me was what resonated the most. Like, not to take away from like the real heaviness that Angie was saying, but yeah, it's like much on the lower side of it. It was like, man, like that to me is what I remember being most afraid of when I was a kid, was just the...
Well, you were always alone as a little kid.
Yeah, I mean, I was an only child, so it was like when I was rolling around and stuff on my big wheel, and I would see that, yeah, that was like, I would resonate, and I would think about Danny, and just being like, wow, that is terrifying, actually, to be alone. You feel very, just, like, unprotected out in the open, and suddenly there's ghost children telling you to come play with them. Like, fuck off.
I didn't sign up for this. God damn it, it's my big wheel.
I was gonna say,
I'm gonna go back to my room and play with my Legos.
I kind of wish I had a
Shit.
big wheel now. Like a grown-up Gallagher big wheel.
With some, like, watermelons in front of it.
Exactly.
Can that be your campaign vehicle? Can you just
Yes.
pedal around town on a big
It's called
wheel?
a slingshot.
A big
Small
wheel?
town,
Can it
big
please
wheel.
be a big wheel?
Yeah.
That's what he's gonna ride in the parade and that Veterans Day.
Wait, Veterans Day is after they vote, right? So if I'm
Yeah.
in, then yeah.
So it's this little side digression. Yeah, Chris is running for office for
City
Brunswick.
council.
Like our other city
You really
councilman
wanna
who's already
follow
on this
Shining.
on this podcast. Just a little digression. We'll get back on track.
Yeah.
I just want to point
that's
that
a
out.
thing.
This is going to be funny because yeah, we're going to have council members.
Is this podcast considered a quorum?
No.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, good. How many other? How
Need 4.
Okay, so if we invite 2 other council members to this podcast, all of a sudden this is a matter of public record,
Yeah, we
right?
can only say like hi to each other, and like and recognize facts.
So it'll be like it'll be an hour long of people just being like, "Hi,
Hi.
it is hot out today."
That might help us get some more
Grass
listeners. It sounds kind of like weird performance art if we do it to a drum beat or something.
What should be
Well,
some other
If
facts?
John Krasinski can tell some good news to Viacom.
I'm gonna stuff some corn in my face. So what's happening is we're just eating.
Is it good? All right, just
I'll
check.
let you know.
All right.
We're eating and eating and eating. We're eating wings.
We're just
Yeah.
all blabbing over a plate of chicken and
Yeah,
pouring
and hot
various hot
sauce.
sauces on them.
We are not as socially distant as we could be, but we're outside at the very least, and we're actually on my
None of us
my
have
deck,
been-
my
yeah.
covered deck, and we're eating chicken wings that we've grilled up, and
And I tested negative for the coronavirus.
None of us have been sick for several months. So
Well, you work from home. I work from home. You work from home.
I shut my office
You've been
door
tested
and don't
and
interact
you've
with
been
people.
tested.
Yeah.
So I mean,
I had the
Amanda's a
seasonal
vector
flu.
for me, and my kids are a vector for me.
Yeah, and Jack's been going
Jack
to school.
goes to school.
And,
And
he
I'm-
hasn't gotten sick. So
I'm thinking that the rhythm for, my son, because my son is desperately wanting to hang out with people. I'm gonna let him if he wants to go bike ride on the canal, that's cool.
Mhm.
If somebody wants to come over, maybe I let him have one person over every 3 weeks or something.
Yeah.
You know?
My cousin has been pretty selective. Like, her son is 16. Gavin is 16, gonna be 17 this year.
Yeah.
And so she's been pretty selective about who comes over. Like,
Mhm.
she's like, oh, this girl's parents have been quarantined for 2 weeks, so we know that
this
they're,
girl, that
you
girl.
know. He's
How
like,
many girls?
Are you okay if I eat this whole thing of
Yeah,
corn?
do it.
Yeah.
Do it, man. There's
Quarantine.
3 corns. Yeah,
I'm
we're the
I'm
corn
surprised it's good.
quarantine.
I'm surprised it's good.
Oh, fuck
talking about
off.
teens and eating corn.
He's like the quarantine Casanova, though. He's hitting the ladies
The
up.
quarantine Casanova.
That's
He's
an
hitting
awesome-
the ladies up.
That would be a great URL for your domain. Yeah.
Let me see what I had here.
Hold on, let me read my notes.
You guys were talking about bad about Stanley Kubrick, but I was looking up all his movies and they're all phenomenal movies.
A
That's the
Clockwork
thing.
Orange is great. I fall asleep every single time I try to watch 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Yeah, I
Like,
think I've only
before we
watched it
even get to
once.
the spaceship, like
But he
every
did
time
Dr.
the monkeys
Strangelove.
are jumping
Yeah.
around the
Doctor-
monolith.
Full Metal Jacket.
Can we
Full
Full Metal
Metal
Jacket
Jacket
was
was
rad.
his high
Eyes
point.
Wide
No.
Shut.
No,
I would say Clockwork Orange
no.
for me.
Doctor Strangelove is one of the most amazing movies.
It
of
is
all
know
one
time.
what?
of the most
No,
amazing.
I can't argue with that.
It immediately encapsulates the angst and the nihilism of modernity. And frankly, it's not even modernity. It's all.
That's
it's
that's
what we were talking
exactly
earlier.
Full
Life
Metal
has
Jacket.
always
though.
been
Yeah.
us trying to find meaning out of the problems we create. And I think Doctor Strangelove, there's just
I'm gonna have to watch
there's
it
a
because I
lot
have
of
not
density
seen
in
it.
there.
Oh, it's really good. I feel the same way you do, John, about that.
It's-
And Full Metal Jacket, and then he also did Eyes Wide Shut, which didn't get great reviews, but I
didn't
thought it
really
was
care.
pretty.
But
good.
I
Is that
would-
the one
but
with
Full
Harrison
Metal-
Ford?
No.
He did Lolita too.
Yeah.
Is
I've
Eyes Wide
Spartacus.
Shut
He did
seen-
Spartacus.
And then
Spartacus, yes.
I mean,
Lolita,
Spartacus is,
meh.
yes, is one of the
didn't realize
most
he did Spartacus.
I didn't
1960.
realize that. Oh my
It's one of
goodness.
the best.
what's the one with Harrison
No, I mean,
Ford
he's-
and like Michelle Pfeiffer? That's not Eyes Wide Shut. Eyes Wide Shut
No.
is
No,
Tom
it's the
Cruise.
Tom
and
Tom
Cruise.
Cruise and
Nicole
Nicole
Kidman.
Kidman.
Nicole
Yeah.
Kidman, yeah.
Yes, Nicole Kidman.
Is that how they met?
I think
I
so.
think so, yeah.
What's the
But
one
full,
that I'm
but
thinking?
Full Metal
not
Jacket
Stir
and
of
Doctor
Echoes.
Strangelove.
Yeah.
If there was a top 10 of films, like if we're transmitting the best of humanity to aliens, like those are two films.
Dr.
Metal
Strangelove.
Jacket.
Which may be sad, the fact that both of those movies are very depressing.
Yeah.
Hey aliens, look how fucking sad we
I
are.
just
He's probably based on his movies, he's probably like my second film director favorite.
Who's your first?
Brian De Palma.
Oh.
Right on.
Okay.
So, I don't know if you guys have seen old Brian De Palma films, but he has like a
What's
specific.
your favorite?
I love Blowout. Dress to Kill is good too. I mean,
I don't know if I've seen
I'll
a
have to
Brian
put some
De Palma
stuff
film.
on my
scope creep. I'm
Femme-
sorry.
No, no. I
have
have to
you guys,
put some on my,
okay, one of
watch
his
list.
newer ones is
I'm
Femme
sleeping on the
Fatale
couch tonight.
with
Okay.
Rebecca
seen it.
Romaine Stamos. Have you and Antonio Banderas?
Brian De
Did that
Palma.
too.
Femme Fatale, that's one of the songs that I like. Twin Temple, they're a satanic doo-wop band, and that's like one of my favorite songs by them.
Oh my god, we got to drop a 30
I want to
second
know
clip
that
of
I've
that into
seen
this.
some Brian De Palma
About
films,
scope
but I
creeps.
can't think of any though.
Satanic duo.
Blowout is
Oh, he
with
did
John
Scarface.
Travolta.
Okay.
We need to hear
Yeah.
He did Scarface, but Blowout is with John Travolta. Like when John Travolta was becoming really popular back then.
the first time because he became
the first-
popular again when Pulp Fiction came out.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, but back to Kubrick. What's everybody's take on
Oh, that
Clockwork
sucks
Orange?
so bad.
That's
I love that.
I mean,
film. I love
I like
that
the
film.
Mission to Mars though.
I love Clockwork Orange, but that was I the first time I really watched Clockwork Orange. I also watched like George Lucas's THX 1138, which is another like dystopian
Yeah.
film. That's when like Blade
Oh, he did
Runner. I
whole
would have
movies?
rewatched. I would have watched
Ah.
that for the first time.
yes.
So
Yeah.
like, and like, there was also like, I'm as again, this was when I was in college,
Yeah.
so around 18, 19, 20. This is after is a late stage teenager where like The Matrix come out and like Dark City came out, and like so you had a lot of motifs that called back, I think, to some of these late 70s, early 80s
Yeah.
dystopian films, right? And that was like, this is my safe space.
Clockwork Orange is your safe space, right?
Yeah, it made more sense to me than anything else going on.
Clockwork Orange I found to be a deeply disturbing movie for obvious reasons, but
Right.
I also am just madly in love with the soundtrack. The soundtrack for Clockwork Orange is maybe top 5. And Blade Runner's on that too. now
Yeah.
that I
But The
think about it.
Shining had really good
That did.
soundtrack too,
Yeah,
and
but it didn't have.
it was very eerie.
It didn't have a transgender synthesized
No.
composer doing Bach, right?
Right.
And it is. I mean,
No,
and
but it
that's
had a
beautiful.
sound, and
Did
it
I
was
say
called-
Bach? I meant to say Beethoven.
And it was called Backwell in Doctor Strange. I think that was I have no idea who the composer was for Doctor Strange, but I appreciated the nod and the effort.
Yeah,
in
yeah, right on.
connecting
It's Wendy
the
Carlos
auditory
is the
atmosphere. Okay.
or Walter Carlos, depending on when in Wendy's career you're referring to.
Well, so who did Doctor Strange? Do you know?
I don't know. That I don't
Why
know.
not? We're staff. Staff.
Yeah.
What was the question?
Where are
Who
the
did soundtrack
Sherpas?
for Doctor Strange? Because I was coming out like the one thing I appreciate with Doctor Strange.
Like Benedict
What-
Cumberbatch,
was Benedict
Doctor
Cumberbatch?
Strange.
No, not
No, Doctor Strange Glove. Yeah, you
Doctor
better.
Strange
Strangelove, yeah.
Yeah, you better say the whole.
We've talked about too many doctors. Clearly. Doctor Sleep.
We haven't talked
I
about
said
Doctor
Doctor
House.
Strange a lot. Holy crap.
Or
And Doctor
Dr.
Sleep
Feelgood.
was I felt like they did a good job of maintaining the auditory. I don't know.
He used
Theme.
some of the same music from Full Metal Jacket that he did in Doctor Strangelove.
Interesting.
Interesting. Full Metal Jacket is
Full Metal Jacket is like one of my favorite
yeah.
movies of all time, so I'm a little biased in that.
It was like at the point where there were like a million movies about the Vietnam War that came out all at the same time, like Full Metal Jacket,
Well, I just thought it was really
Apocalypse
timely.
Now, the Deer Hunter. Like they all came out around the same time, didn't they?
It still mattered in 2003, like when we were going to Iraq and
Yes.
stuff,
Right,
because
right.
it was like, wow, this shit's still happening. This is exactly like our truth still, you know.
Well,
This is
did
like
you
a
see-
generation ago, but
Did
it
you
still
see
matters.
Jarhead?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like the amount of like callbacks and
Mhm.
the themes and the angst
Yep.
that you saw in Jarhead was the same shit they were.
Yep.
And in a lot of ways, the worst parts of what you saw in the Full Metal Jacket, psychologically speaking, I think took more precedence in Jarhead, just because.
And that's
A lot
what
of
I
those are hard waiting.
what I appreciate at like Kubrick as a director. Like
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
has very picturesque like pieces in his films. Brian De Palma, back to Brian De Palma real quick. The reason why I like him as a director is because he does something different called a split screen.
Mhm.
So he'll do two different action. You see it probably in Carrie,
Yeah.
because he did Carrie, but he'll like split the screen and he'll do two different actions that are happening at the same time, but you see them from different points of view.
Maybe we need to do a De Palma spotlight
Yeah, let's do that.
episode.
Let's
for
do
sure.
that.
Okay.
And maybe in honor of the split screen thing, we'll have two separate conversations about it simultaneously.
I can think of a movie that did a terrible split screen. Was like, what was it? Ang Lee who did the original what's it called? The Big Green Hulk movie. From,
Edward
like,
Norton.
Not with Ed Norton.
No,
the one with
Ang Lee-
With
No, it
Bruce
wasn't
Banner.
Banner.
Eric Bana.
Eric Bana.
With Bruce.
Who was the Eric
Bana.
Bana one?
Bana as Bana.
Eric
think that was-
Eric Bana.
Maybe that was the Ang Lee one.
That was Ang Lee, I thought,
Was it
because that was the terrible
Who
one.
did
that
the
had, like,
Empire
split
one?
screens.
Edward Norton.
I thought it
Yeah.
was Norton too.
The one audience member who's
We've got our
probably
staff
nerdy
looking
is
this
like,
up right
You
now.
don't even know the
We have our
difference between your
Sherpas
Hulks?"
on the case.
No, it was.
Is that corn still good?
It was
I mean,
the
it's cold,
Eric
but it's
Bana.
corn.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
what
It's
I thought.
It was
corn.
the Ang Lee one. Jennifer
Quarantine.
Connelly,
Because
Nick, Sam Elliott.
Nick
Oh my
Nolte in that
God.
movie was so
Oh my
funny.
God.
Oh, Nick fucking Nolte.
Oh God,
He's so crusty, that guy.
that is a real digression.
Is
I'm
he
sorry,
as
guys.
Is he as crusty as Gary Busey though? I feel like Gary
Okay.
Busey is the poor man's Nick Nolte.
Yes.
Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! And wait, and Nick Nolte is the poor man's Jeff Bridges.
Whoa!
Multiple levels.
Wait. On whose authority?
On Chris's authority. Like, what other authority do you need?
There's Jeff Bridges, and then there's the rest of existence.
Oh, I agree. No, Jeff was at the top of the crust pyramid.
And I'm totally thinking of.
Pyramid of crust.
Okay, what's your favorite? Not to get too far into the weeds here, but what's
Too
your
late.
favorite?
Too fucking late to do it.
We're
What's-
cutting out half his fucking podcast.
What's your favorite Gary Busey then? Like movie?
Point Break.
Quickly!
Quigley! Because I was thinking Silver Bullet, but I'm like, no, Quigley, because he falls.
No, Silver Bullet.
Because he totally falls on his ass so many times in Quigley.
Oh man.
That's like probably the movie that they made fun of in Family Guy when he stares in the mirror and he's like, "How you doing, Gary Busey?"
Looking good, Gary
Or,
Busey.
yeah, looking good. Sorry, that's the quote.
That's right. He was in Point Break. You said that. Like
That was
30
the only
seconds
right
ago.
answer.
Yeah.
Or why you're surprised.
Jesus. All right, so I just love Gary Busey. I'm just not gonna lie. Him and his teeth. He and Shelley Duvall like could just.
What is it? This
They could have a whole teeth contest.
Game of teeth.
Yeah.
I'm gonna buy you a set of dentures for your birthday.
Speaking of that, of Shelley Duvall, I wanted to talk about that note. Was where the last scene where she couldn't fit her teeth out the window to escape.
Oh man.
Shit. Now I lost my place in my notes.
We need to stop drinking.
It's too late now. I'm too
Yeah.
far down the drinking
Yeah.
hole.
You're gonna need to go take a nap
You can the nap shack.
in the nap shack.
So maybe a good segue into Dr. Sleep is the teeth.
Or taking a nap.
Hold on. What did we
Or
think?
taking a
Oh,
nap.
here it is. I found it. Sorry. So in the final act of the movie is where the story actually shines and the musical crescendo builds.
I got my teeth stuck on the windowsill.
Shelley Duvall can't fit her teeth through the window sill in the bathroom to escape, Jack Nicholson, just in time so he can deliver the famous line.
Yep.
And that's all I had.
So, if
There
we're
was
ready,
no segue.
if we're ready to segue to Dr. Sleep, do we think that the actor who played Shelley Duvall's character in Dr. Sleep, do we think that her teeth were up to the did the director do a good job of matching the teeth?
Were her teeth up to the challenge?
No.
Hey, show me
I'm
show
not
me
talking
your
about
teeth.
someone's goddamn
Show me
What
your
a
teeth.
weird audition that must have been.
Let me see your teeth.
Like, next.
I thought
It was the girl from Starry Eyes.
I thought that they did a face replacement for her.
no,
I
it
think
was the
it
girl
was-
from Starry
no.
Eyes.
Yeah, I remember that, but I was like,
They didn't do a face
No.
replacement.
no. Oh,
No.
have
They
you?
didn't put like dentures or anything. I swear they might.
Yeah, was it a practical effect or was it CGI? Yeah.
Oh.
But this goes back to like when you're talking about like they had to break olive oil. Like I think the actress in Dr. Sleep did a really good job of recreating that like naivety that she had in her character, like
the vibe. Oh
yeah,
yeah.
and like just innocence. The
Mhm.
like
The
like
worry.
something baffling. Like how the fuck are you still this naive
Right.
when like your kid's seeing ghosts and telling you he's talking to a person in his tooth, and your son and your husband just
And his tooth.
In his tooth.
His teeth.
Your husband
Right,
tried
that's
to
what
murder
happened,
you
right?
all.
No, no, it was in his belly, I thought.
no. What
Right?
was it? His mouth?
Down
It's
in
in
his-
his mouth.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Man,
Tooth. Maybe I
who
made
knew
a
that?
tooth.
Mouth. Whatever.
Who knew that the
This
whole
is-
dental
So
thing
this
was
is
a
her.
theme?
Every photo is of her with her mouth
I give up.
closed.
All right, if you haven't seen Starry Eyes, I just want to put that out there.
No,
See Starry
it's-
Eyes.
It's all right.
And the famous line is like, oh wait, no, it wasn't actually a famous line. It was me saying
It was
that,
you.
like- okay.
It was you.
It's famous to you.
Suck my evil dick.
Because spoiler
That's all
alert,
I'm gonna lead with.
she sucks a dick and becomes possessed.
She sucks an evil dick.
An evil dick.
I didn't consent to this.
Yeah.
Scope creep.
Yeah.
We've gone like way off the rails.
I
We're
know.
like,
Starry Eyes. Jesus, how we arrived at Starry Eyes. Okay. It's on Amazon Prime if you haven't seen it. Go watch it.
is it on Netflix too? I thought it was on Netflix
I
too.
can't remember.
So Dr. Sleep. No, I
Dr. Sleep, yeah.
That felt like an actual Stephen King book.
No, there was.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, that's like it was very clearly like the supernatural took a precedence.
Yes.
That The Shining did not
Changed
have.
genres.
Yeah, it was totally different emphasis.
But I loved how long the movie was and how it like kept your attention the entire
it's just
time.
like-
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
3 hours
Yeah.
long, and I was
It
just
built-
like,
it had a
give
lot
me
of
more.
Yeah, it had a lot
It
of
was like a
build.
Lord of the
Yeah.
Rings extended edition. We had all this world building going
Yes.
on.
But
that
you
was
just
amazing,
wanted
and,
all
like,
of it. You just
Yeah,
and
you
all
were
the
okay
actors-
with
and
it.
all the
Yeah.
actors were so good. The girl that's one of the main characters, she
Rose
was
the
amazing.
Hat.
I mean, Uma McGregor, like I'll have his babies tomorrow. But
I will definitely have his baby.
but like, and then like the
OBGYN
Irish
Kenobi
lady-
himself.
Ah!
That's a Dennis Miller joke. I can't take credit for that.
The was she Irish or Scottish? The actress that
She
played
was Irish,
the
I
the
think.
main antagonist.
Yeah, Rose the
Like,
Hat.
I mean, she was so compelling and like
Oh,
just encapsulating
shit,
and like
what's her
stop
name?
Siren.
From the
You're
white,
the bad guy. I don't
from
want
the
to like
White
you.
Queen.
She is kind of like
And the child too.
Yeah,
The child, she was really good.
Yeah.
What's her name again?
Yeah. No, yeah. The
little girl?
15-year-old girl.
Yeah.
Rebecca Ferguson.
that she
Yeah,
converted
Rebecca
on the
Ferguson.
beach or whatever.
Rebecca Ferguson is famous because
Oh, she's from Sweden.
Well,
I-
that's like you like felt her pain. Like this was again another person that was abused and like was justified in all the hatred and the anger that they had. But like,
I loved her in The White Queen. If you've never seen that, like
Oh,
that was
yeah.
that was really good. It was a little mini series about her as, what's it, Joan Grey. She was like the Queen of York for during the 100 Years. War of the Roses. Sorry, I'm like too many beers. Yeah, so she's really good in that. If you haven't seen it, and there's all those other subsequent ones. It was like the White Queen and then the Spanish Princess. There's like a bunch of little ones, and it's all by like the same author, I guess. And they made little mini series out of every of them.
I haven't watched it, but I don't
Check them out. It was good.
Yeah, right on.
If you like history in England,
Speaking
Those
of,
things are good.
so since Amy stepped away for a second, I want to just and since we're talking about random shit, Angie and I, when we want to talk about a series that we just discovered, that I'm so glad we got past the trailer that looked, excuse me, very corny, because it ended up being a highly entertaining and engaging 10-episode miniseries on Hulu called
The Great.
or The Great.
It's about Catherine the Great.
Yeah.
It's called The
Oh.
Great.
Okay.
And it was just wickedly just funny.
It's
and
so
smart.
funny and
Yeah.
Okay.
satirical. And
Okay.
It's
Amanda and I
not.
are getting new content. So.
Oh,
It
this
has
is the one.
some, like,
Sexy
actual
time?
historical moments in it. But you realize as you're watching it, you're like, I know this went down probably like 10 times worse back then.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, it's funny and, the jabs that they pull on each other and stuff. But when you actually realize, like, historically, you're probably like, they were probably almost like strangling each other,
And there's some just wickedly fun, evil, sadistic characters in it.
Oh,
too.
yeah.
Oh, my
yeah.
God. Yeah.
Like breast.
Well, I mean,
I was thinking from like the cartoons.
Well, her husband.
Yeah,
One.
yeah,
Catherine
oh,
the Great's husband.
yeah, great performance.
Awful historically,
character.
this is like something that is really, really good because she organized a coup d'etat.
Right.
Against
a leader of an extremely powerful
Russia, against
the
Russia.
son of
she took over Russia.
Peter the Great.
Well, it's Peter the Great's son.
Yeah, that's what I say. Yeah, the
so-
son of Peter the Great is who
Yeah.
she was married to and overthrew. I still know very little about the actual history, but I'm compelled to dig in now because it was just.
Well, now I wonder if she really did fuck a horse.
Wait, what?
Okay, now I need to
that was
watch
the
this.
takeaway?
That's
The
what
whole
really-
thing about Catherine the Great is during that time in Russia, they brought a printing press in for a brief period. And during when they brought in the printing press, that actually really did happen. I remember this from history books when I was growing up. But during the printing press time, they like advertised that she had fucked a horse.
Oh, I'm sure that was.
Okay, and they made drawings of it and stuff.
Slander,
yeah. And but the thing is she also was very sexually open back then, a lot more than other people were during that time period. So, the whole gist is that Catherine the Great really did fuck a horse, but I mean, she might not have. It could have just been like that. She was just slandered.
Did you pick an excellent time to randomly come back into the conversation?
I did.
And what do you think about horse
that was-
fucking, Amy?
But the
Hold
history
my beer.
besides
Yeah, nothing.
I say nay.
Yeah.
Oh!
High five, sister.
All right,
Oh
time
my
to go home.
Circle gets the square.
Yeah.
That was great.
Jesus.
Dr. Sleep was
Anyways,
cool.
check it out.
How
Check
did we
out-
go from Dr. Sleep to horse fucking? I was inside for
We're
like
talking
3
about
minutes.
this
Catherine the Great.
We
got off
miniseries.
He was
on
talking
Hulu.
about
on
the queen.
It's so
Yeah.
good.
The White Queen, and then we were talking about, he was like about history, and we just saw this show called The Great, which is about Catherine the
Did
Great.
you watch The Last Kingdom?
It's got Nicholas Holt in it, and
haven't
I
gotten
don't
to
really
season 4
like
yet, but
Yes.
I
disliking
can't.
Nicholas
I
Holt.
love it.
Which guy? Oh, is that the
Just
lead?
the-
Oh, yeah.
Apparently
You
so
will hate
good.
him.
Eber
Oh,
Hotz for the
dude.
guys.
I
So
love
good.
him.
I don't
But
think
you
we-
still
we-
love
But
him.
I want
That's
to,
what I'll say.
but you love to hate him.
I think
Yeah.
it's his voice.
He's-
I just like the way he
it-
sounds. His
You can tell he's
cadence,
having
maybe.
the time
It's
of
like
his life
His,
playing
his
this
voice-
character.
interesting.
His voice actually
Because
annoys the
he
fuck out of me.
at times
I find it
is
almost
complete
distracting
pile
while I
of
watch
shit.
the show.
Mhm.
I watch the,
At
I
other
watch
times
the show
he's
for anyone
just
but the main character.
like kind
Playful
of dumb,
and
like
stuff.
Woody
It's
Harrelson's
like
character in
California.
Cheers.
And
it's interesting to see him kind of just navigate
Like
all of
Vaseline.
that.
Something
Yeah,
like
yeah,
his
yeah.
consonants are too hard.
Hey, we're doing our Brian De Palma cast now.
Sorry.
Oh, no, that's totally okay.
Okay, John and I are gonna have a discussion about. We're gonna talk. About,
So, yeah,
we're gonna talk about the Last
You're
Kingdom.
gonna cut an introduction.
Y'all talk about horse fucking, and we'll talk about.
We're talking about the Last Kingdom and whether I find the main character physically attractive or not, and I had an argument with
And his
Amanda
voice.
about his
Uhtred?
attractiveness.
Uhtred's
Uhtred
voice.
is the actor. He tries too hard. I don't like him.
I like his. See, I like his cadence and the way he says things, like where he's just like very bothered. He sounds like very bothered about
Is this-
everything.
is this the
Trying
next
to-
the next
it's
show we
clearly
should
a
watch?
guy, like, what, 'cause
Yeah.
he's like
If you guys haven't seen The Last Kingdom, check it out.
woke me up for this.
Yeah.
Is that?
It's good. I mean, I like it. I don't think he. I get what you mean about him physically, but
Is he not physically appealing? Would you not have his babies tomorrow?
I think he's a butterface.
Destiny is all. Anyway.
And his voice
What-
just makes it even more.
Man,
What are you guys
I wish I
talking
had a
about?
butterface for all that quarantine
Yeah.
that I ate.
What were you guys talking about on your side?
We're talking about Nicholas Holt.
And horse fucking.
Yeah. Horse fucking.
I was gonna talk. It's funny. Somebody brought up
That's poor guy,
Wes
sorry.
Anderson, right? Somebody brought up a Wes Anderson comparison for The Shining.
It was just like the aesthetic.
I wrote
Yeah.
that down.
Did you really?
I wrote that down in my notes and I forgot all about it because it was weeks
Wow,
ago. So I
cool.
said, final thoughts when you compare ghost-like atmospheric mystery house movies of the time together. I think The Changeling with George C. Scott was kind of superior in its horror and visual style, with all the damn symmetry in every scene and shot versus shot reversals and dialogue never heard off screen. It feels like a Wes Anderson horror film. This is really rough. I think I was drinking a lot when I wrote this.
You were drinking while you wrote
So
it,
are
and
you
you were
saying-
drinking while you
are
wrote
you
it.
Exactly.
Are you saying The Shining feels like a Wes Anderson horror
Yes.
film, or The Changeling
No.
feels like a Wes Anderson?
The
horror
Shining.
film?
There was a period or two missing there, but yeah,
And
we
yeah,
Yeah.
it was just like a stream of consciousness when I wrote this down. But yes, that was definitely
Well, you
everything
know-
being centered and like perfectly framed down the thing. I was
And-
like, oh,
and
it's
the-
Wes
the
Anderson.
s- the
The
slow-
movements were all like
the
very
slow
Wes
pan
Anderson.
of look at all these neat things that I put in this specific way, and the colors. That's like Wes Anderson.
But we should say it's not Wes Anderson because Wes Anderson made all these movies after The Shining.
He's like
so it's-
spooky Wes Anderson.
Wes Anderson is actually
Can we
Unless
cut,
he's a time traveler.
yeah, exactly.
Plot twist.
Yeah,
can
exactly.
can we cut
Right now
a
it's the
new
president.
Shining trailer and make it like the Wes Anderson version?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Can we
Do
get
that.
Ben Stiller and those two kids in the matching Adidas?
Fuck yeah.
yeah, like jumpsuits, the red,
Little
the red
bellhop
tracksuit.
outfits.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, and like the quirky music.
The Royal Murder
all right.
Bombs.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. I would love to see a Wes Anderson redo The Shining.
That's all I'm gonna say about it. So
He's fucking wacky.
horse fucking.
And zany. no. Moonrise Kingdom. If you haven't seen it, it's like one of the best movies
Yeah, I know.
I've
The
ever
Life
seen.
Aquatic. Blah, blah,
It's
blah.
so whimsical and wonderful.
I
and-
actually,
You talking shit about Bill
I
Murray?
was not. I was not. I love. I mean, Bill Murray's a guy.
Just
Not a
pointing
big
it out.
Life Aquatic fan. I love the one that you just mentioned, and I like some of the older ones too. I actually like Bottle Rockets and Real Tenenbaums, and
She really could like
they're
come
fun.
castrate you
They're
if
fun
it's not-
films.
I probably haven't seen the
4
Royal
o'clock on the
Tenenbaums
dot.
since like high school or early college.
But
But I saw Moonrise Kingdom when it came out in the theaters,
Me
and
too.
I was just like,
Love story, cute.
adorable,
Adorbs.
whimsical, just so.
Yeah.
I love like whimsical things,
Yeah.
and that just like
Yeah,
It is
hit
whimsical,
every note
the
for me.
movie.
yeah.
it was. It's whimsical. The movie. It puts you right back into like where you were in 6th and 7th grade,
Yep.
and it makes you want to be back there. Like forget
Yeah.
about all the bullshit of
Yeah.
middle school
Mm-hmm.
and like remember all the good all
It's
the good
a-
parts.
It's like it's a
Moonrise
It's,
Kingdom.
it's as much a tone poem as it is.
Have
a
you
movie.
seen it? Oh, it's so
I love
good.
It's lovely.
Have you seen Fantastic Mr. Fox?
Yes, I have. I
Oh,
enjoyed that as
dude.
well.
See, I haven't
Love
seen that
it.
one. That's the one
Yeah.
I haven't seen. But I
George
saw
Clooney, right?
Isn't that
Um,
clay
yeah,
animation?
Steve Zissou.
It's stop motion.
motion.
Yeah.
Stop motion.
Yeah.
Everybody, all the people
George
I knew in
fucking
school,
Clooney.
college loved that movie, but I was like,
Which one?
eh,
Yep.
Life
He's
Aquatic.
good in that.
I like
I
Life
mean,
Aquatic too.
It was fine,
I
but it's Bill
don't-
fucking Murray. Like,
I mean, yeah, isn't that half of like Wes Anderson's films? Is just Bill Murray being cool,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
basically.
What's the one, the best ever Marigold Hotel?
oh yeah,
That was
Or-
fun. I forgot the
It
name.
was fun, but
yeah.
it's fine.
Yeah, yeah. We loved it so much. None of us
Watching-
remembers the title.
Speaking about Bill Murray, you should watch that zombie movie that he was just in. Have you
that
seen
was good.
I haven't seen it
Zombieland?
yet.
Oh
No,
no.
well, he was in.
It's
Oh, the
they-
Jim Jarmusch
Jim
film.
Jarmusch.
I
With,
love that
uh,
film.
It was
we,
good.
with,
I haven't
uh,
seen it
We
yet.
saw it in the
we
theater.
saw that in the
Driver
theater,
and-
and there was almost nobody else.
There
in
was
it.
nobody
Oh,
there.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
That was a
I-
good date
That
night.
was right up my alley.
It's
Yeah.
on my list. I need to watch that.
Oh, you
so.
do.
But
Yeah.
one of my favorite Bill
It's
Murray's.
self-aware,
yes,
and
yes.
but not
The
irritatingly
dead don't
so.
die.
Dead
Yeah,
don't
the
die.
dead don't die. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Bill Murray.
Coffee and cigarettes.
Coffee and cigarettes.
That's Jim Jarmusch as
With
well.
Tom-
Was it?
with
Is it
Tom
black and
Waits?
white?
It's got Tom Waits.
Yeah.
Bill
I haven't
Murray.
seen it,
Bill
but it
Murray.
looks
so
Iggy Pop?
fucking
Murray with like
pretentious.
with
There's Tom Waits and Iggy Pop and
yeah.
a bunch of other people.
That's
Yeah,
a
no,
lot
it's
of
amazing.
gravelly
It was-
people in one film right
Oh
there.
my
It was,
God,
but
I love
it
it.
was like the juxtaposition of some of the characters they put together. Like the guy, oh god, I'm too white for this. The,
So many good
Yeah,
episode
it's-
titles here.
that movie was like
it was
the
a really
fucking,
good movie.
It
There's
was like,
a lot of really good conversations that are like
Yeah.
just we have these really cool juxtapositions of people.
if you had to have a
That's not
slate of artsy fartsy pretentious movies in college, that and like Ryan Johnson's Brick was like in there too.
Really?
You know, because it's the same
Brick
shit.
is good. It's a noir, man.
It is, but it's the same thing. It's like it's coffee and cigarettes. It feels very much like that because like they have a coffee and pie oh my like place where like they go and have conversations like that because it's a noir.
I don't know. There's something about coffee. Bill Murray sitting there drinking straight out of the pot.
Oh yeah.
I heard Bill Murray is like a pain to work with though because like he
He's
would
a
never
pain to get a hold of. You know, he doesn't have an agent.
he would just show up. He'd be like, "Well, we're shooting in a couple days. We hope Bill Murray will be here," and then he would just show up. Like they had no inclination whether he was actually going to be there or
He
not.
shows
like,
up though. He does
Yeah.
He
show
shows
up.
up. He
Yeah.
shows
It
up.
was like Ghostbusters. They said they couldn't get a hold of him until like 2 days before they had to shoot.
Amazing.
He's like, I'll be
Just
there.
makes
He
me
was
laugh.
busy. I don't have a problem with that. I love it. I just think it makes him sound even cooler.
I was just.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, it sounds great as a producer and a director and
As a
everybody
director,
else.
it probably stresses you out
Like-
to hear the story.
I don't know if he
Yeah.
wants to do this. He'll be here. If he doesn't,
We
yeah,
hope he'll
fuck.
be here.
It seems like Bill Murray
We
is
have
just,
like $100 million writing on this, so
I was just
Yeah.
thinking about
Bill Murray,
'cause
always
I was
living his
thinking
best
about-
life.
yeah.
I was thinking about the scene in Zombieland where they're like, "What's your biggest regret?" And he's like, "Garfield."
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As he's like bleeding out.
yeah.
Wow, we really got down the rabbit hole.
We really did. Like, we went from like childhood trauma to fucking Bill Murray.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Wait, no, wait.
Sorry,
There's a comma. There's a comma.
Sorry, Angie.
No. Childhood trauma, horse fucking, comma.
And then
Yeah.
Bill Murray.
I didn't do any fucking. Just to be clear.
So in Dr. Sleep, they brutally kill a little kid. That was the worst part of that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I was thirsty for Ewan McGregor the whole
Yes,
time.
Ewan McGregor was like, he did taste like, what do they say, whiskey? Yeah.
Delicious.
As she was sitting on him.
I feel like that movie
No.
was also very realistic.
No, it was good. Like
Blue
the
juice?
delving in the
No.
childhood trauma and like how he dealt with it, I think they did a really good job.
Vodka.
Of,
Yeah.
There's ice.
Like, oh yeah, there's this whole supernatural
Vodka,
element
grenadine,
going
and
on, but there was also like it felt
fizzy.
very sincere when they were talking about stuff going
Absolutely.
on, and as he related to other people. In
Yeah,
the
because
movie,
there's people that go and kill kids, steal kids and stuff like that, and they probably are in a bunch of RVs and stuff.
well, it was like I mean, one scene that for me was really powerful. There's two in particular that stick out the most for me. The first one, when Doc and his sponsor show up at the girl's house after they've like finally like things got escalated and
Yeah.
Doc actually put himself out there, was like,
Yeah.
I got to interview to do
Yeah,
something.
we have to do something.
And
yeah.
they show up, and the girl's dad is gonna like beat these creepy old perverted men's ass. Rightfully,
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, rightfully so.
Well, we're just all spoilers at this
Yeah.
point.
Yeah.
So who cares?
Just
Nobody's
fucking-
listening to this.
And like he was like there would literally be nothing that could break me. Like if like my kids were like, well, this guy was on Roblox and he says he wants to help me and he's in our driveway now. Like,
Yeah.
you're getting off my driveway or I'm killing you. Right?
Yeah.
Like that's kind of the level where I'd be.
You're,
And so-
you're,
Like,
you're
don't
already,
talk
you're
to my
already
fu-
like, what's
like,
my
don't
primary
fucking
and
talk to my
secondary
kid.
weapon
And so-
for eliminating the threat?
and so
Yeah.
so right into
What's
this
in my left hand? What's in my right hand?
Absolutely, yeah.
And so the scene, right, is there, and they're like, you have to show your dad. They're talking to this girl who's, got The Shining. He's like, you have to show your dad why we're here. And so she shows or transmits or whatever fucking words you use to describe
Shines.
psychological transference or whatever. But, and like, so he sees the murder of this kid, and yep, okay, that's probably one of the few things that would break me out of whatever vitriol I would have
Yeah.
at that moment. And
Yeah.
like I don't know, to go and I think the juxtaposition of, because in both cases your utmost concern is that of a child, right? The one that's your child,
Yeah.
and then you've been shown this trauma of another child that's
Mhm.
innocent, and so in some ways, like your feeling hasn't actually changed. You've just changed it from mine to this other kid who's been suffered,
For
and
sure.
now you've been put in a position of responsibility of well, it's not my kid that I'm trying to defend, which is what I was out here doing. Now I have this other kid in a decision that it might put my kid in danger to help
can't
this
deny
one.
that it's important that something be done because you were just feeling that something needed to be done when it was your kid. Yeah.
But your kid's gonna have to put herself in danger to deal with this situation. Like I don't know. So that was like to me that was a really impactful scene, and I didn't know how I felt about Mr. Torrance being the bartender again for Ian McGregor. Like because
that was a little rando, but you know.
Well, but at the end of The Shining, right? He does the Kubrick zoom in on the
Yeah.
picture,
Yep.
and like you see like somehow Jack Nicholson's now part of the spirits of the house in this photo from 1910 or whatever, Roaring '20s, and like so like there was a clear tie-in, but like I didn't, and so like I get it, but I don't know how I felt about him.
Like
I don't know.
replacing the other guy?
Well, and I don't know how much it was just like, oh, here's the Jack Nicholson doppelganger and like the thing going on. But then I was trying to step back, like as far as the story goes,
it was a little distracting.
Does it help understanding Doc that he's having to have this conversation with his like a father-looking figure? Like, would it have mattered if it was just another bartender again, another spirit that he was having with what?
Does it
and
matter
so, I don't know if I've answered the
that it's
question
his
yet.
dad, that he's getting like some kind of a catharsis out of it? Like,
Right.
Like maybe it's not really his dad, but maybe it's just like a supernatural entity just kind of posing as his dad.
Right. But that's why I liked that's where I felt like the miniseries did a lot better justice to the story because it gave you more of that and it allowed you to have some more of that catharsis that you're talking about with Danny as he aged out a little bit more and kind of like explained like, oh, he has these powers and he could communicate or at least have some closure with his father after the fact, after they escaped the hotel, kind of. Which is why I love Dr. Sleep, because when he put all those ghosts in the box and stuff and then let them out again, I was like, that's so awesome.
That's really cool.
It's so fucking cool.
So that they could eat Rose the Hat.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
my
spoilers,
take on that,
spoilers.
So
what
many
you were
spoilers.
saying, is that I felt like the actual Jack Nicholson from The Shining, like he also probably had The Shining, like
Yeah,
also
it was like
probably
latent
shined.
in him. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, where do you think Ewan McGregor character, the
Yeah.
son,
Yeah.
got it from?
Right.
He got it probably from his dad. It's just that his
Mhm.
dad took it to a dark place.
They didn't have direction.
Yeah.
They didn't have the-
So, and Ewan McGregor was taking it to a dark place. The only thing is that he had a guide to help him because
Right.
he was drinking himself, like, and I mean, he felt guilt for
Right.
leaving that woman with her baby.
Right.
Remember?
Jeez, that
And
was
she-
fucked up.
That-
was
and she
hard.
died.
Oh, dude.
That was
she
probably one of the
died.
most traumatizing
That B
things.
story in the
Yeah.
beginning, I was like,
Yeah.
oh, fuck, Ewan McGregor? Like, Jesus.
No, I literally
man.
blocked that out because that was.
But that
That was really
but then
rough,
when
yeah.
he like moves into the new place, like he sees her dead body,
Yeah.
in bed with him. So,
So-
I feel like Ewan McGregor was basically the epitome of his father, and that's why he's
Well,
having a conversation.
Well, he had
with
that
his
kind
father.
where he gave the speech at the AA meeting where he said like this is for my dad or
That
whatever.
was
like
a
that was
really,
really powerful.
Yeah,
for
it
me.
was a powerful moment.
But I was gonna say, but that because I had blocked that out. That scene where like you had the one night
And
stand
the kids
and he
in the
like
diaper
snuck in.
and
He's like I don't want to be
gives the kids some
responsible. or anything.
Doritos.
Yeah, he like
Yeah.
left some money or something.
But the
No,
kid dies.
he stole the money.
Well, he was gonna
Stole
steal
money
it,
from
but
him.
anyway, so he left the kid,
But the kid dies.
and so like
Yeah.
that scene where he has
Spoilers!
the
Oh my
connection
God,
to the
just
ghost, to
all
the
the
ghost
spoilers.
baby
Yeah.
that he is effectively murdered, turns down. Like one of the few other scenes that have hit me as hard was like on the road, where like they're literally like spit roasting a baby. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't remember that. It's been a while since I've seen The Road. But thanks for reminding me to never fucking watch
Yeah.
it again.
Yeah, don't. It's like Requiem for a Dream. Like
It's been a little
You
while
watched it
since
once.
I've seen that. Oh, God.
Sorry.
Requiem for a
Which-
Dream.
Now I have to look
Which
at it up.
movie did you just say?
The Road.
Road?
Oh.
with Viggo Mortensen.
I forgot
It's like a
about that, actually.
post-apocalyptic-
Yeah.
It's
Well,
it's
that's right.
also
You guys
based on a book.
recommended that to me on our Slack group.
It's really good. I can't watch it again.
I've seen it a few
Oh,
times.
they cut it. So did you see it in like a director's cut or
I don't know,
something?
maybe. Or maybe it was just the alluded to, and the book maybe was more specific. But
Yeah. I never read the book, but I'm sure.
but that's like I don't know.
I don't remember it in the visual or the
I don't
theatrical
remember it
version.
either.
To me, of just like as far as like
The theatrical version was
Just-
dark enough.
Well, to be just displaying like the weight that someone like Ian McGregor, like Doc, has to carry around
Yeah.
with him, like, which goes in, like, which makes the whole box thing that much more powerful. Like, you need.
Yeah, because he was actually carrying stuff around with him.
Yeah, it was like physically, like, and this goes to the supernatural aspect. It's not like for like, oh, we have things buried deep down, right? But
It
no, like
wasn't
he was
just
literally
midichlorians.
compacting these.
He's got like actual trauma.
ghosts.
Yeah.
Then he's like
Yeah.
physically, metaphysically putting them in a box.
Yeah.
Did he do that to the lady in the bathtub?
Yes.
Yes, she was one of
She was
them.
like the first
He,
one.
he was a child when he did that.
He was like, I need to just compartmentalize you. You're in this box. You're not
Well,
coming
and
out.
that's why, like, the scene where it, like, zooms out in the hedge maze, right? And you see how many fucking boxes he has. Like, I
Yes.
don't know how
Yeah,
many
yeah.
boxes a
There's
ghost
a lot,
box
yeah.
there is.
Yeah.
There was like a dozen of them, or at least, it's just.
They're like eggs. Yeah, you
Yeah,
can
I
fit
know.
12 of
It's
them
a
in a
carton.
box. Yeah. Carton of
Baker's
ghosts.
dozen.
See, there's so many movies that are relatable to The Shining and Doctor Sleep, you know. But I just feel like the reason why both of them are so good is because they take this realism aspect to it.
Yeah, no, it's.
Because like
That's
the
right. They talk about like a realistic horror movie. I mean, that was one of my keys. And I thought there was a nice tie.
Hellraiser in space.
With
Yeah.
him tying it in the Shining, but apparently I just misremembered the Shining.
and
well, Doctor Sleep.
Cortland Mead was the child. And he looks so much like Haley Joel Osment, but he's not. He looks like the I See Dead People kid, but he's not.
Nice.
So
Haley
in
Joel Osment.
in
Ooh.
Doctor Sleep, you know.
Here's an insert of him.
No, that guy's gross.
Death in Brunswick.
Apparently Sam Neill was in a movie called Death in Brunswick.
Oh, snap.
What? Sorry.
Oh my gosh.
Death in Brunswick, aka this podcast.
So have
on
you
a dead
seen
worm.
The Grudge?
Yes.
Dogs are weird.
Wait,
So
like the
I
new
feel-
one?
2001.
What is it?
2002.
Either one. I've seen both.
Or
of
the
them.
original,
I've
like-
seen the original
Yeah,
Japanese
I've seen the original
one,
one
and
as well.
I've seen the newer one.
Mhm.
But
There's
that's the
another
way.
remake.
So
then the
basically,
most
I feel
recent
like
one, yeah.
Doctor Sleep or The Grudge is basically like a more supernatural version of Doctor Sleep.
Yeah.
Because the whole premise is that it's the building that's
Mhm.
haunted with all these evil spirits.
Right, yeah.
So, and then The Grudge, it's supposed to be like, oh, a building is haunted with evil spirits. So it's very like
Like
Exactly,
the
yeah.
house?
There's the
Well,
physics, I guess, or of how the world works, like the
That goes
mechanics
back
of
into the
it, yeah.
world building, like Chris was talking about in Doctor Sleep, where like it wasn't just a random mansion that happened to be haunted. It was like this was a place of power, and
Mhm.
like that kind of
It,
stuff.
it was almost like the building itself had
interesting.
like manifested into like this,
Yeah, it itself was almost an entity.
which is why I like the Changeling so much more. You've never seen it,
No, I haven't
I
seen
feel
it.
like I've seen it.
George
and
C.
then
Scott,
I
man,
forget all of it.
dude. If you've never seen the Changeling from 1980,
I think I've seen it, but it was a long, long time
I'm
Check
ago.
gonna
it
have to
out.
rewatch it.
this is a great movie to juxtapose against The Shining because they're both really good and they're both very visual and atmospheric. Except one's like much more like singular, like character driven, and it's like George C. Scott basically carries that entire movie by himself. Which I guess Jack Nicholson gets the credit for The Shining, but
Can we also talk about Fateful Findings and how that's like
Yes.
Neil Breen's The
so
Shining?
to pivot really hard into Shining-like movies, Amy and I have been watching Neil Breen's collection of films
Oh,
lately.
Lord.
Which, if you love like
Oh,
Tommy
Lord.
Wiseau and like awful bad movies,
Oh my god.
like The Room, you'll love Neil Breen. You have to go pee? That's a great place to break. So right before we talk about Neil Breen, we'll have Jack go.
I was given paranormal powers as a child. I've hacked into just about all the information I need.
I feel like all of none of Neil Breen's movies are coherent. But he thinks he's like this visionary filmmaker, and he's like, everything that I make is edgy and thought-provoking, and he promotes like audience participation at all of his screenings, but he doesn't realize that like 95% of the people that are there at his screenings are to like fucking troll him. Like they're there because Red Letter Media brought all of his films to light in like a parody, and so people are cheering him but it's because he fucking sucks. So we
But at what point?
You saw the
But at
room
what
with me.
point of showing up to make fun of something and cheering about it, I almost feel like
do you just become like an
you're,
actual fan?
yeah. At some point, you just transcend the trollness. You know,
Art still did the art thing.
Yeah,
which is make people talk about it.
Exactly.
You watched some of The Room. I was watching it one day on Shudder.
I don't even remember. Oh wait, what was
The original The Room or the?
Yeah,
No, there's a remake.
Yeah.
And every time you think of something, it turns up in The Room. So
No.
No, that's not
no,
it.
no,
Because that's a
Because I like that was
no.
good. That was good.
No, The Room is not a horror movie.
It's a horrible movie.
It's a horrible movie. It's about.
This is another room.
This is a man, Tommy.
Oh,
what is his
God.
name? What's his name? Johnny. His name's Johnny
Yes,
in the movie.
Johnny.
But Tommy Wiseau, he's the director, but he plays the main character. And it's about he and his girlfriend are living this amazing life. They're having fucking amazing sex, and then he finds out that his
Talking about The Room?
girlfriend
Oh, yeah.
is cheating on him with his best friend Greg Sestero, and it's like awful green screens. And I think, okay, spoiler alert, he kills himself. At
We
the
don't
end.
care if you spoil The Room.
Lisa, you're tearing me apart.
I was totally talking about
No.
something totally different,
Yeah.
and it's
Nope.
called The Room.
Nope. I know
There's a horror movie called The Room.
I know
Yes,
what you're
I know
talking
what
about.
you're
I know
talking
what you're
about,
talking about. Totally different.
Totally different.
Totally
And here
different.
I'm thinking,
No.
that
This is
movie
drama.
wasn't
We're
that
talking
bad.
about Tommy Wiseau,
Yeah.
and
What are you
it's
talking about? It's a different movie.
it's a bunch of like randos in like their early 20s, and they're sitting around, and it's like this meta drama.
Oh my gosh, he just
How's
said
your
Rando.
sex life?
That's the thing
Yeah.
that people say. And Angie had only heard Rando for the first time earlier this week, and she just loves.
Oh
she
my.
loves it.
Oh my.
She loves it.
So what I suggest is that in order to make you guys fully appreciate Neil Breen, the next time we get together, we need to have like a live screening of this. Like we'll all get either baked or drunk and watch a Neil
We
Breen
have
movie.
all his movies. We have all his movies.
Or not
We bought
baked.
them
I
all.
mean,
we'll just smoke a
Yeah.
lot of weed.
well,
Politicians.
yeah. The non-politicians of the group will smoke a lot of weed.
And we'll
Coughing.
Excellent timing on the call.
and we'll watch Neil Breen, and it'll be awesome because you guys. I think everybody needs to understand the genius
Is that
of this
is
man.
this our first pain cast? Right, we were talking about.
Oh
doing
my
a
God, the
podcast.
guy is—he's an evil genius because
An evil Breenius.
yes.
Who am I?
What am I?
What am I? And he's
No more books.
he's Oscar contender.
Wow.
Oscar contender.
Directed by, written by, produced by, starring. He is a Renaissance man. Like this is his movies, or these are his movies.
He does the craft services. He
does-
provides the catering.
Everything is Neil Breen.
Crafty. Neil
Cakes
Breen.
and Pies by Neil Breen.
Yes.
You guys will
hummus
really
myself.
love this,
And
and
we have pie.
we are 3 movies
Yeah.
in, and yeah,
Yeah,
we
welcome to
definitely-
fucking Breentown.
I
'Cause
can't wait.
We're in the thick of it.
We
Wow.
definitely
Oh
need
my
to have a
gosh.
Breen cast.
Yeah.
Oh,
Breen
these look
cat.
awful.
So
Yeah.
double so
Dude,
Can I
they're
say-
so
Can I say
they're beautiful. They're beautiful and awful.
double down?
And here's the thing: every movie of his is like a manifesto, basically, where
Yes.
he's talking about we need to stop the banks and the government and,
and the
all,
corruption.
kill all these people. And I'm just like, wow, Breen is on a watch list or something somewhere because of the shit that he says in his movies.
And in his movies, he's always some kind of like higher power.
He-
who
yeah,
has
he's like the
been-
Messiah.
He's
Come
either
to tell
like
us
some
all.
kind of artificial intelligence
Does he
where
make
he's like
this
smarter
one
than all
face?
this.
Yes!
All the time?
Yes!
Because he's making that to all 5 of them. Man, is it if it's possible to tell that somebody is a bad actor from a still photo? I think it's
So
Yeah.
double.
Buckle
shit,
up,
John.
Chris, because
Okay,
we're gonna
yeah.
have a great time.
So we just watched. We've been watching them in like chronological order.
of course, yeah,
So
of
double.
course, because you want to experience the
So double
the
down.
Breen timeline.
Yeah. So double down
the
is like
Breeniverse.
it's like stock. It's like stock footage of the movie.
Uh huh.
He just like it's nothing but stock footage and like him narrating, and then like him out in the desert because he lives in Las Vegas. And then
Oh my.
I Am Here Now. It's not stock footage, but it's like the same scene over and over and over again. Like
What?
he just repeats the shots of like the same burned out house in
Oh,
Las
okay.
Vegas because
Yeah.
that was
Oh
like
God,
the,
it's
that was like the set
I Am
he
Here
had
Now is
access to.
painful.
Fateful Findings wasn't bad.
It was like his first competent movie.
There was not stock footage.
It was bad. Like it felt like they were all reading cue cards off the
So-
side.
So we'll let you know. We have two more. We have Pass Through and we have Twisted Pair.
I'm excited
to
for
get
Pass
through.
Through. Wow.
Pass Through is about an omnipotent being who comes down and wait, isn't that wait? That's I Am Here Now. It's all the same.
They're all the same. Yeah.
He's-
He's
I mean,
always
I
like a
guess from the
super
first
smart.
covers.
He's like always some sort of omnipotent being.
Yeah.
Who
Come
has
to enlighten
control
us all.
over
Yeah.
everything, or he's like a hacker who's hacked into all of the government systems.
He's the
All
best
of them.
ever at
And has
everything.
all the
ones-
government and corporate secrets.
Of course.
So
Oh
he
my
has
God.
like he always holds the power, and his girlfriends are always like 20 years younger
Super
than
hot.
him.
Yeah. And I'm like,
They're like porn stars.
and he's always awkwardly like he always just takes like
He's always kissing them.
he always takes their shirts off halfway.
Yeah. It's like he pulls
he
his
just-
tank
he
top
just takes,
down
like,
their
one half of
shoulders
the
and
tank
shows,
top
like,
off.
their cleavage.
He's a nice guy.
I'm sure that's it.
Man.
Anyway,
Yeah, it
let's-
sounds
we
like-
all need to experience a brain movie
Okay, so
together.
we're-
My
I mean,
life sounds like it's okay not having this.
No, it's your life is incomplete without a
He's
brain
like an
movie.
architect or like a real estate agent in Las Vegas. So he self-funds all of his own movies, and like you can totally tell.
He had some real production value in the most recent one we saw, but
Twisted Pair.
yeah, Twisted Pair was
No, don't.
Pat,
Fateful Findings.
Faithful Findings.
He got hit by a car. He got hit by a
Yeah,
car.
and he
That
had
was
like
pretty
3
good.
oxygen bottles in like the
Yeah.
the ER room that he
It
had.
sounds like he's as shitty as it sounds.
Dude,
I
He's
mean,
amazing.
he sounds like he's
He
living his
gets-
best life.
He gets offers from high B
I mean,
and
it's
low
wrong.
A list Hollywood stars
Well, yeah.
to be in his movies.
Ironically, yeah.
he posted this video of like all these people cheering in like a Paris premiere or something that he had in the movie theater. And I was like, he's not in on the joke. They're all there and cheering for his movies because they're so bad.
Don't let him sneeze on you, Amy.
Oh, the cat.
Oh, I know. I saw like his mucus globules.
Because he's yeah,
You want me to make him go away?
No,
he's
it's
like
fine, no, it's
delusional
fine,
because
it's
he's
fine.
not in on the joke yet. That's the thing that we're all like
Listen,
debating. Like,
why is he
does
so
he
crusty?
realize it
Why
yet,
is he
or
so
does he
crusty?
not care? And like we're all trying to
I don't
figure
know,
that
you know
out
what?
because
He's
he's
like-
making the
He's
same
like the
movie,
Gary
basically.
Busey of cats.
His fur is like crunchy.
I don't touch him. We feed him, but we don't touch him. Oh, and he's just really old.
Jack's
You
been
can
like
tell
putting a
he's
hat on him and like.
I know.
Oh, he's so
You can
old.
tell he's
Before
on
you
his
got
way
here,
out.
Jack was like putting his hat on the cat
Oh,
and
gosh.
like.
Oh man.
Don't you dare watch that without me
Sophie,
because we
you.
need.
I'm just. We haven't done one of these in a while, and we haven't done one in person ever with you. And
This is fantastic.
This is the first one with
This
you
was
too.
absolutely
and
fantastic.
and we had,
There's a lot of good stuff.
yeah.
That's good to point out that this is the first personal cast we've had. Like actually, we did more
In
remote
months, in
casts
months, yeah.
than we did in
When
face.
we did the
Well,
first one.
it was 2 and 2, right? Was it 2?
Yeah. This is the 5th one we've done. This is episode 4 actually, but this is the first time we've been in person in a while since we started the Corona cast.
We did 2 in your room.
Yep.
And I loved both movies. So.
Same, yeah. I mean,
I go like I love both, but for like very different reasons, and it's almost weird that it's the same universe.
Are we talking about Neil Breen still?
No, back to
No.
Next podcast, Neil Breen.
Doctor Sleep and The Shining.
Oh yeah.
It's like it's.
I liked them for different reasons too.
As you said, it's like the Doctor Sleep was like this expanded universe, but it was like
Mhm.
an expanded universe for something I really didn't want an expanded universe of. But I'm glad it happened. But I also, it's weird. I don't know.
No, I know what you mean. It's like you wouldn't get that from watching the Kubrick film, but like that's how Stephen King's books are, because like he has built this universe where all of his stories kind of exist in the same place.
And they're all interconnected.
Yes, in some way, shape, or form, and so it makes sense.
And
like
they don't have to be filmed by the same person or look exactly the same way like
No. Right.
Lucas's films do.
Right.
I think that, just to totally go off into left field, I think that the Star Wars universe would really benefit from more, Mandalorian types of, this is a real departure in look and feel. And
Disney could have learned a fucking lesson instead of giving it to Ryan Johnson. Oh.
Yeah. Well,
How
the
unfair.
moment,
That
I
could
think,
be- that
I
could
think
be
you'll
totally-
be eternally
that
salty
could be
about that.
totally-
Dude.
Yeah.
That could be a
I
totally
mean, the
new
moment they
podcast.
announced the guy from Lost was going to do it, I'm not even going to say his name.
Yeah.
Because I think he's overrated.
J.J. Abrams.
Yes.
Yeah, J.J. Abrams desperately wants to be
He
George,
is
not
he
George
is
Lucas,
a
but
competent director, but he is not a Stanley Kubrick.
I thought his Trek
He is not
films
a
were
George-
just
it's not even George
entertaining
Lucas.
candy types of
Because
things.
at least George
you know?
Lucas gave over The
Yeah.
Empire Strikes Back.
So I thought the one in 2009, like the Star
Took it
Trek,
back over for Johnny
like
Depp.
just Star Trek, his J.J. like
Yeah,
the J.J.
yeah, the
Abrams
first
Star-
one, yeah.
It was pretty
Kelvin
good.
universe.
And then
Yeah.
we tried to watch the second one in the theaters, and we like left.
Wait, you left the one with Khan? Was it Khan with Benedict
yeah.
Cumberbatch as Khan? Yeah, weren't a fan. I thought it
No,
was entertaining,
no.
but again,
It was
I think
boring.
the one thing about you two that I don't expect sci-fi to be great. I'm okay if it's just a crappy piece of candy, basically, you know. And so my standards are very low for sci-fi.
we need to raise his standards for sci-fi.
No, I mean, I like good
do.
sci-fi
I don't know if
and
it's
all,
an
but
either
I
or.
don't need it, you know. It's like it
Because
doesn't have to be
we've
that way.
talked about The Expanse. The Expanse is amazing. It's
Yeah.
one of the best
The Expanse is like really good
Sci-fi.
sci-fi.
That's
recently.
like the benchmark.
video,
Yeah.
video
Baseline.
film ever.
Before that, Battlestar Galactica. That's
Oh,
really
that
great.
Battlestar Galactica reboot series was.
What?
It's okay.
All right.
I
I'm about to oust John.
Good night, everybody.
Yeah, good night.
everybody.
Gaius
Gaius Baltar signing off.
That dick guy
Gaius
that used to be
balls
on our
deep.
Now that
podcast.
you said Colorado, all I can think of is like when he's like,
Oh yeah, in the original, yeah.
All I can
yeah.
think of.
Oh, that's maybe
that was a
You
really
can't-
great movie.
it was. Oh,
Of
the
all
original
the souls
Rapticon.
I've ever known, his was the most human.
All right. Yeah.
I thought you were gonna do the
Star
the
Trek
Khan
2.
speech though. With
No.
my last breath, I spit at thee.
No.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
can't recapture Star Trek 2, and that's what the J.J.
You're right.
Abrams Into Darkness tried to do.
Sophie,
And I'm
get
just
down.
like, no, don't. No.
This is like the worst fucking cat.
Oh my goodness! So for those
Like
of
Star
you-
Trek 2 is like nearly a perfect
it's so
movie,
irritating
and
it's
like
cute and
it's
I don't
as
wanna
close to
go.
a perfect movie as like
I don't
Empire
wanna
Strikes
hurt
Back.
him.
You want to be gentle because he's 150 years old.
I know. I don't want to hurt him. H-U-R-T, but I don't want to hurt him. H-E-R-D.
He's like the cat Gandalf. He's like 100 million years old.
Except for
He's
he
like-
shall pass.
He
at
wants
some
to
point.
pass. He
I
wants
just
to
hope it's not
pass.
on my porch. Poor guy.
Dark fire will not avail you.
Aw. Love you, stinky old kitty. Sophie.
He's so crusty.
Is the pug like
I
the
know.
flame of Udun?
Sophie.
Are we
I just-
filleting Glamdring again?
Yes.
I just rewatched all the over the last weekend with
So did we.
my
Yeah.
stepdad. Because Amanda hates
The Lord of the Rings trilogy?
What? But my,
She does?
Well, I wouldn't say hate. She's like,
She's like, can
I
take
don't
it or
know, I
leave
got
it.
stuff to
Okay.
do. I don't need to spend 4 hours watching one movie. But
See,
my stepfather
She's not the
came,
keeper
and
of the
he-
sacred
he-
fire.
He like so we literally over the Memorial Day weekend when they visited, we watched Lord of the Rings from
See,
like
we're
Friday
like-
through
we're
Saturday.
Did
like,
you do
let's-
extended edition? Extended edition,
Of
2
course.
hours.
Of course. We're like, let's put them on and we'll clean. And then I'm like, no, I actually want to sit and watch these
Yeah,
movies.
house
They're
is still
really
dirty.
fucking good.
I cried again.
Angie's smiling really wide right now. she knows.
Are you not a...
Oh, I love the Lord.
Oh yeah, she knows.
But I mean, they're very long and
They are.
It's a lot of like
Oh.
war.
Yes.
a lot of war scenes.
I
Yeah.
just love it. I just love it.
Or a lot of speeches leading up
Yes.
to the war.
Yes.
I like
So-
Fellowship
So
more
we
than
watched
any
it,
of them, but
and Eli, the kids were obviously around when we were watching it, and Eli really liked the Ents. And so
That makes
That's cute.
sense.
That's cute.
yesterday, me and him, we went on he wanted to go walking on the trail so that he could yell out to the tree people and see if they were there.
Oh,
So
That's awesome.
That's
So we went
cute.
onto the trails by Brunswick Cross and went, "Hey, tree people!" They just really confused everyone else.
Everybody was like backing away
So I'm gonna
slowly.
walk my
Isn't that
dog.
the guy on city council? I could just hear the...
Aw.
So, well, I was like, "There's no tree people," and I was like, "I don't know, maybe they're sleeping."
Maybe they're
It's
sleeping.
gotta be.
That's awesome.
There's gotta be goblins or orcs to wake them up.
See, I'm just- yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
So good.
I'm just,
they move
I'm just
incredibly
like
slow.
possessed Theoden.
Right.
I'm just
I
like,
was like,
You have no power here.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's
my
a great
favorite.
move.
I'll insert the clip right here.
The spell.
So all right, random, just real quickly, favorite of the three. Which Lord of the Rings movie?
Lord of
was
Time
your
to-
favorite?
Fellowship.
Yeah, Fellowship for me too.
really? Two Towers.
Two Towers.
It's
Tiebreaker.
It's like The Empire Strikes Back
It's
of the
close.
Yes,
series.
it's
It's
close.
like,
exactly
fucking
what it
shit
is.
is
There's-
bad.
Helm's Deep.
Shit is bad.
I'll take Helm's
But
Deep
that's
to
why,
any other
like,
battle in
I
that.
want, I
movie
want
too.
2 hours of the Shire. I just like.
right.
I just.
That's not a wrong answer.
That was, like, the
There are
Shire,
no
like,
wrong answers.
My favorite's the Never-Ending Story.
Out of all
not
of them.
one of them. That's funny
You wanna
as
know
shit.
why I'm a goddamn analyst?
You're such a troublemaker.
Because the Never-Ending Story.
Because Arik
Never-Ending Story.
gets killed in the
And the swamp,
the swamp
of,
of sorrows.
sorrows literally
Yeah.
kills like the most. I can't. It's like I can't.
Yeah.
Atreyu.
That wolf
Yeah.
scared the shit out of me when I was a kid.
The wolf. Everything.
I can't believe you
it's a
answered
nightmare
with
fuel.
another
Yeah.
movie other than one of the three choices, and it's a good answer too.
It's
Yeah,
the best
I mean,
answer.
It is the best answer.
So hey, I guess we'll wrap this up. I'm Michael. This has been BroSafe Nerd Alert. We've had special guests Amy and Angie today. We liked The Shining and Dr. Sleep. If you haven't seen them, check them out. A bunch of other movies that we mentioned. I'll just sign off with
A commercial for Capital City Mambo sauce, a Washington D.C. style lake sauce.
yeah.
Put it in your blowhole.
Fuck, nothing is real. John.
That's the best fucking
Was that
barbecue
supposed to be the
sauce I've
show notes?
had.
That's really yummy. You're supposed to do the show notes for like the last 5 episodes.
I'd like to shout out to my deodorant for keeping me dry during this entire podcast.
I'm not picking up a funk at all. You're doing
Michael
good.
has heard me talk about this fucking deodorant, and a fucking Facebook ad got me. Targeted Facebook ad, Lumi. You spread it on your pits like a lotion,
We're all gonna die.
and it doesn't make you not sweat, but it makes your sweat not stink.
Really?
Yes!
Wow.
It's fucking amazing.
Is there like a Lumi for bros?
Wait. Is that
Yeah.
the
It just smells like hippie. Like,
Is
no
that the
matter
one
what
with-
scent you
with
get,
the-
it just kind of smells like.
lady with
You're
an
into
accent
that.
that
I am
sings
into
the
that.
commercials?
Yeah, you rub it in.
Yumi?
Dude,
Yeah, what's it?
Lumi.
Does it
Yumi.
smell like
Lumi.
patchouli?
I'm
Do
the
not- I've
stinkiest.
seen this commercial. I can't help myself. I've never been so infatuated with women's deodorant in my entire life.
It's not just women, it's everybody. It's like you can put it anywhere.
I know.
You can put
What's it
it
called?
on your feet.
L-U-M-I?
Yeah.
I'll put it in my butt.
L-U-M-E. You
Alright.
can put it on your.
Weird.
You can. No, you can put it between your butt cheeks. You can put it between your butt cheeks.
Don't
You
butt
put it
stuff
under your
shame,
boobs,
Michael.
like when you get sweaty in the
in the
summer. No, not in the butt.
This is
On the
gonna be a
butt.
great way to start fading it out.
So you don't
Right
get
here.
butt sweat.
But no, but the,
I have never been
the commercial that
not
they
stinky.
did for
Where
Lumi
exactly
is one
does
of
on
those
the
like
butt become
brilliant
in the
pieces
butt?
of marketing
That's the
genius.
question.
Where's the line?
Now I need to know.
Chris,
Now I need to see it.
Chris, we need your sign off.